Welcome to the Legendary Upside podcast and YouTube channel. My name is Pat Kerrane. You can follow all of my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Rich Hribar, Sharp Football Analysis. Reebs, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm actually excited to talk about this slate because this, from 10,000 feet view is like the tightest, like from a DFS perspective, like one of the tighter slates. Like throughout the week, we didn't get like 4 running backs that opened up like pricing and made everything fluid again. So I think this is the first like uncomfortable week of fantasy football from a DFS perspective, where like not everyone's just like, oh, this is all cushy and we're playing all the good plays.
Yeah, no, that's true. So yeah, this is our Angles and Upside podcast. We're going to be talking through the main slate of games, the 10-game slate on Sunday. And this is not a DFS exactly, but we'll kind of be talking through what we think is going to happen in the games, which obviously applies to DFS. And we both play DFS, so we'll be talking through what we like. But yeah, before we get going, any promos you got going or anything you wanna touch on? Let's plug some stuff at the top.
Yeah. Nothing special in terms of promo code, unfortunately. We are gonna have a free week coming up though pretty soon. We're like we always just do like a late season free week. But if we don't by somehow cover anything that you guys want to hear, or you want to read about the London game or the primetime games, I mean, all that stuff is over at Sharp Football Analysis, where I share my DFS player pool, all the good stuff. But I love hanging out and talking with you, and we're gonna walk through these games.
100%. And check out the walkthrough over at Legendary Upside. I also narrate that. It's a long post, and if you're going to hang here with us for a couple hours, I assume you enjoy audio content. So if you want to hear the narrated version of that article, it's on a premium podcast feed for subscribers, only $10 a month over there. But let's jump into it, starting with the Saints at Panthers. This game kicks off the walkthrough because Rico Dowdle was the cover boy this week. On the Saints side, I was kind of encouraged that Tyler Shuck wasn't terrible. He was kind of rattlery last week. He was kind of terrible against the Bucs, but that was, he wasn't expected to be starting in that game. Probably doesn't mean too much, and gets his first start. Wheels don't completely fall off, which is good for this game to, have a little bit of life. But on the other side, Rico Dowdle, man, 72% of snaps, 76% of carries, 17% target share last week. Hubbard was truly a backup. They actually handed the backfield over to this guy, and he was awesome again. He's currently running back 2 with a 50% success rate per NFL Next Gen, which is awesome. 19 rush yards over expected per game, which is running back 3. He's set up so well here. Teterow McMillan dealing with a hamstring injury might miss this game. I'm not even sure it matters that much because the Panthers were going to just pound the rock here regardless, and I think they'll be successful doing it. They are super, super committed to the run. 58% pass rate, minus 6% pass rate over expected. And the Saints are a big run funnel with teams running. They have a 54% pass rate against them. Saints opponents are averaging a 54% pass rate, which is just crazy low. Saints aren't terrible against the run, but they're not a good team. And they're not going to push you off of a run-heavy approach. And the Panthers are just very ideologically committed to the run right now. And they found a guy that can lead the charge. So Dowdle will be chalk in DFS, but I think he's good chalk here.
Yeah, 100% agree. It just all lines up. Like you said, like the Saints actually, like they play the run all right. Like they're the middle of the pack and like in yards per carry out the running backs, but because they've trailed for 89% of their snaps to the highest rate in the league. Like, so they, as a byproduct, they just face a ton of runs. And like, it doesn't matter if you're only giving up 4 yards a run. When you face 26 of them, you end up giving up a lot of runs per game. So they do face the highest backfield attempts per game. And that's just what Carolina wants to do, man. I mean, they're 30th in drop back rate in neutral game scripts, and they're 30th in drop back rate playing with a lead. And we saw them at the end of last year too. Like, remember they took like the Chiefs to overtime. They almost beat the Eagles if Xavier Legette doesn't drop a pass. And like they've been kind of game this year, Again, they're not like exciting by any means. Like you're kind of mad they're good, but like they keep pushing teams they shouldn't push. They win most of the games they should win. And it's just because they keep pounding the ball. What was more impressive about Dowdle's game last week too is the offensive line injuries just seem to not matter for this team. Like, they've had 7 different starting offensive line combinations now through 9 games. Their most frequently used offensive line combination this season has only been on the field for 20% of their snaps. It's the lowest, most frequently used line.
They've had a thing where they like one of their guards got hurt and then his backup got hurt. So now they're like on the 3rd string guard. Like, it's like the line overall isn't in shambles, but they have like one spot that keeps getting hurt.
Yeah, they just keep running the ball though, man. And even in spots where you think, because they're just a run team. So, and then Dowdle's. This goes back to last year too. I mean, his last 9 starts, he's gone over 100 yards now 7 times rushing. Like it's not just this 3-game sample. I mean, he's third in the
he was good at
NFL
the
in
end of
rushing.
last year.
Yeah. He's third in rushing yards right now, and the dude basically had like 3 starts.
Yeah, and the Panthers, I think, is very clear. They came into the year and they were like a little bit more willing to like see if they could, have Bryce Young, like, build off of what he did at the end of last year and kind of be what the offense was about. They opened the season with a 68% pass rate against the Jags, which is right in line with expected. The average pass rate this year is 62%. So the 6% above the average. They kind of were fine with like a pass heavy script. The following week, they're at 80% pass rate. They're in that kind of that comeback mode where they were like, it was kind of a desperate comeback, but they're like, maybe they sort of had a chance against the Cardinals in that game. It's 2% above expected. Then they pivot. They have that blowout win over the Falcons. They only passed 52% of the time, 59% against the Patriots, 57% against the Dolphins, 46% in the win over the Cowboys, 55% against the Jets, 56% against the Bills, and just 43% in their win over the Packers. This is like working, and on 1st and 10, starting with the Patriots, they've been at a minus 20% PROE, minus 29, minus 25, minus 8, minus 31 against the Bills, and then minus 16% last week, which tells you they're really, really prioritizing the run in neutral situations, which is great for the lead running back. When the defense doesn't know what's coming, they run the ball. So it should help his efficiency a little bit compared to, you could make the case it's not a great way to run your offense. You're not prioritizing the passing game, which is a more efficient way to move the ball in the run game, but who cares? They're gonna run the ball a bunch, and the guy we want to play is the running back. And they're playing the Saints, where it's not probably going to cost them to maybe be a somewhat suboptimally analytically in terms of the offensive design. So they're not going to be. I mean, and more importantly, like they're just predictable. Like we know how they want to play football. This is a spot where they can play football that way. And the Saints, I think, will push back enough to. The worry would be that they just blow them out and like we see Hubbard at the end of this game. I don't think we get that. The Panthers aren't like good enough in the Saints.
Even if they do blow them out, it's going to be because of Dowdle.
Yeah, it'll be because of Dowdle. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not going to be 4 Bryce Young passing touchdowns. Like the odds that it's 4. They're
not going to start tush pushing Bryce Young. I don't think.
Yeah.
They should try like a tush surf where they like crowd surf him over.
I did appreciate everyone sending us the images of the Kyler Bryce Young stuff.
I think it could work if they just like in a concert, they just
like a crowd surfing, just push them over.
Crowd surf. It's just chuck him. On the Saints side, anything jump out to you?
No, I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see the fallout of Rashid Shaheed. Obviously, the Saints can't run the ball. It's a bummer to see what's happened to Alvin Kamara over the course of this season. I mean, earlier in the week, like when I was doing like my prop bet show, and I'm like going through the list and just seeing if anything stands out. I saw his rushing prop to open the week was 32.5, and I was like, oh Jesus, this is like where we are. And I was like, I don't even think he's gonna hit this. Like, what are we doing? This is like how the mighty have fallen, right? I mean, you look at last week, 17 yards and just 7 touches. He hasn't been a top 30 scorer since week 6 or an RB2 or better. He's been an RB2 or better in just 1 of his past 7 games. Taysom Hill was the leading rusher last week, and he had 30 yards. It wasn't like he was good either. Like it's just bad. He's not catching the ball out of the backfield. It's just pretty gross, man. They're
kind of using Devin Neal in like a third down back pass protection stuff a little bit. So
and like basically they like Kamara like asked them not to trade him because he likes where he lives and like didn't even care about going to a contender. He's just like content to just kind of like be hanging out.
He said, "I'm not leaving New Orleans." Yeah, that's what he said. You can trade.
It's a great city. It's a good city to live.
With football, then. Yeah, I get it. I kind of respect it. He's like, this is where I live, and if you want me to play football, it's gonna be here.
Yeah, you don't have to give me touches. I'll just keep hanging out. Like,
yeah, it's It's, you know what it is? It's kind of like, it's a similar role to Breece Hall in a way, where he catches passes, but not necessarily. Like, there's also an Isaiah Davis, or where Devin Neal's was at 42% route participation last week. So like, he's stealing meaningful receiving work, even if he's not getting a ton of targets. But then it's like Breece Hall with just no burst, you know, because Kamara's he's got a 28% success rate, running back 46. Running back 45 in rush yards over expected per game. He's got 0.68 yards per out run. This used to be like a 2 yards per out run guy. Like, it's really over. So the Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson, I think, targets will consolidate here with Shaheed gone. Olave, though, was like already really underperforming his volume. So it's like hard to like, more volume's good, but it's not like, man, he's going to crush now. He's already been getting more volume than he could kind of deliver on. And so I have him as like a high-end wide receiver 2 in the ranks. And, he's a pretty strong season-long play, but I don't think I'll be on him in DFS. And then Juwan Johnson is probably the guy I'm actually most interested in for DFS on the Saints side. He's like, he started really strong. We got excited. Then he had target per route run numbers of 11, 15, and 8% in the middle part of the season so far. And that's obviously concerning. Yard per route run in that stretch of 1, 0.65, 0.63. The target numbers are back up, not to like quite where they were to start the year, but 23, 17, and 20% over the last 3 weeks is solid. And now you'd expect maybe that to even increase. His route participation's been good all year. The yards per route run's never been great, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. I guess it's kind of bad. 1.37, but the 19% target share, 90% targets per route run. Yeah, he's running a ton of routes. 82% route participation. So I think he's at least mildly interesting here.
Yeah, I mean, he's running over 30 routes per game at the tight end position, and he's getting targets, right? Like those, like that combination, usually at least at that position, gives you something to work with. And then, if you have any type of upside or run hot, then it turns into something exciting, which hasn't been often, but he's in a good spot where they're probably going to have to throw a lot again. Carolina's been pretty weak against tight ends overall. They play that, they sit in like that base cover 3 all the time. So like tight ends tend to get a lot of looks against them anyways, but they also are allowing chunk plays to tight ends, 30th in yards per target. They're right around middle pack and touchdown rate, but this is his old shower narrative is back in play though. Tyler Shuck is a former college roommate, back in 2019.
So is it roommate or teammate? Because I think there was the debate on this on the DFS show that I just did this morning, where Neil Orfield had said they were college roommates, and then Davis fact checked that they were just teammates.
Oh, they were just teammates. I don't know. I thought they were roommates at one point, but I never have like dug in to 2019 Oregon like board and rooming to like see like like how like I just remember the story when he got drafted. There's like a story like Juwan like reached out to him and like so like it was like so maybe I don't know.
It means 2 different things. If they're teammates, it just means Shuck's really old. If they're roommates, it could be good for them.
The Earl Bennett, the Earl Bennett
connection. Yeah.
Which we're seeing with Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, kind
we
of.
Are.
But
we are. All right, and not too much. I mean, even if McMillan's out, I don't really have much interest in the Panthers passing game. Would you agree?
No, because of the volume stuff. A little maybe a slight bump for like Coker and like Get, but the matchup is fine if you want to chase. I just don't think there's gonna be a lot of pass volume. In wake of the Shaheed trade, if you're in like 14 team leagues or something deeper, they've talked up that Vele is gonna get the role.
Cooks some too.
Yeah, well, Cooks has already been like playing as the wide receiver 3,
I know.
But the coaching staff like deliberately talked about Vele this week. I mean, you're not gonna like play him in DFS or anything, but like if you're in like those deeper PPR leagues, it's like a spec ad just because like they're throwing so many passes. Like you might have a guy getting 25 30 routes and maybe that turns into something for you, but it's just a spec ad at this point.
I agree. Yeah, there's always these guys who are like, Brandon Cooks has been like at 65% plus route participation, as high as 97% this year. Like, what?
Yeah, like, it's pretty crazy. Some people probably don't even know he's on the Saints. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
like, Brandon Cooks is still out there running around.
We'll get to one of these surprising route participation stats later as well. Let's
Yeah.
talk Pats Bucks. This is like, the game
Yeah,
of
I'm
the week
very.
for
This is
the
an interesting one.
1 p.m. slate. This will. I think Romo's doing this one, and I think this game's really fun. What jumps out to you about this one?
Yeah, I think it's volatile, but has potential to be fun because you kind of have the two mirror pass funnel defenses. Like this is a game that
Exactly.
could absolutely feature 80 plus combined passes and a range of
Yes.
outcomes. I'm definitely way more concerned about the Bucks side than the Pats side, though, for sure. The volatility here, but if we do get it, I mean, the Bucks have played 3 home games. They've all gone over. They've all been over like 50 total points. There's reasons to be like optimistic. I'm a little scared because like the way the Bucks went into the bye and then Baker Mayfield as a whole this season, like he's kind of gotten by like with some late game stuff and got him in the
Hmm.
MVP talk. But like his overall metrics have been kind of weak all year. And especially against man coverage, he's only completed 43% of his passes against man coverage. Only Cam Ward is worse. And only
Mm.
Carson Wentz has a lower yards per pass attempt against man coverage. Obviously, the Patriots play a lot of man coverage. I think they're going to do that here too because I don't think they're scared about the Bucks
And
rushing game
Gonzalez
at
is
all.
healthy. He was checked for a concussion last week, but he's good.
Yeah. And so like and you would expect that too because of the state the wide receivers have been in all year, right? Like so like it all kind of tracks why it adds up. It might not even be a full like Baker struggling versus man coverage thing. It could be the receivers. It's like a combination of things, but they're gonna see a lot of that here as well. It also might maybe not matter. One thing I always do try to preach to, and wherever we're talking about coverage stuff or this stuff gets thrown around, is like take in context like who these teams have played and the team they're facing against. Like even though the Patriots are a base man coverage team, like they don't really play a lot of good pass defense either. So like, they're 24th in yards per pass attempt allowed. They're 20th in passing points allowed per pass attempt. So it's like, it might not mean anything here either too. It could be kind of noisy. So definitely
I
keep
think they're
that in
better
mind.
than the season-long numbers, though, because they
Correct.
didn't have Gonzalez for a while, and they were
Mhm.
like people were really picking on them, and now I think they're pretty solid in the secondary. They're not great in the
But their
secondary,
schedule's been
but
so easy too. It's hard to like, but they
that's
have like the
true.
game against Josh Allen on their
Yeah,
resume. So there's like a lot of stuff just going on at the Patriots in general. I do know their run defense is real, and I know
it's
Rashad
real.
White is not running on them. They're the first team since 1950 to now allow a player to rush for over 50 yards against them to this point of an NFL season.
Bijan
Absolutely,
Robinson had 46 yards on 12 carries with minus 20 rush yards over expected, a 25% success rate. They stacked the box against him 0 times.
yeah. And like Rashad White has been pretty cheeks since he's taken over for Bucky.
Yeah.
And like to be fair, this is like what Rashad White's been over his career. Before the bye, he was like banged up, and we saw more Sean Tucker. But they're just not going to be able to run here, so it's going to be a high Baker drop back game regardless. This could be a sneaky spot too, where like Pat's D is in play, like
Mm,
for season
yeah.
long stuff, just because you're going to get so many dropbacks. But
Dropbacks. Yeah.
Baker hasn't really been turning the ball over though, but. They might get Luke Goddard back, but that's the volatile side. I'll let you talk
That
about
would be
some of the
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let you talk into some more stuff. There's a lot that I think to cover in this game.
So that Luke Goedecke's their right tackle, and
Mhm.
Charlie Heck's been filling in, and he kind of stinks. So that would be, and the rest of their line is now healthy, which it's not been healthy. I think like one of their intended starters got hurt right at the beginning of the year, so that's not fully true, but they're basically good if they get Goedeke back. So that would be nice to see. Um, and yeah, I think from the Patriots side basically my view of this game is similar to yours, where it's like it's not like super high confidence because you have the Bucks have been struggling recently with Baker Mayfield, not playing well against the Lions and then not playing well against the Saints, which was definitely pretty concerning. 31st percentile EPA per play in that game after being awesome for a few weeks, 98th percentile against the Seahawks, 94th percentile against the 49ers. So he drops off, but they have the bye. You're hoping that he, kind of gets it together. And then on the Patriots side with May, it's not super high confidence either because this Bucks defense is pretty good. Blitzes a lot. He just faced a blitzing defense in the Falcons and turned in his worst EPA per play of the year. It was still like not that bad because he's playing awesome,
Mhm.
42nd percentile. It's not like he cratered, but it was kind of diminished the excitement in the Patriots offense a bit. And I think we could see that happen again. The silver lining or the kind of the reasons to stay kind of optimistic here is that he was aggressive against the blitz last week with a 12.3 ADOT. He wasn't able to connect much downfield, but he was trying, and he was solid against the blitz. He had positive EPA. He had a 44% success rate, which isn't it's not like bad. Like that's like kind of where Mayfield is this year, roughly. So he was like limited by the blitz, but he was trying to do cool stuff by attacking downfield. And in another kind of blitz heavy matchup, you could see him kind of go off, especially on volume, right? Where you look at the Bucks run defense, it's also really good. Fifth in rushing DVOA, third in EPA, third in success rate. So you got kind of these brick wall rush defenses on both sides. You have a pretty high point total. You have offenses that can push each other. So it's just like you're just betting on a bunch of drop back volume. Efficiency is maybe down, like 65th percentile EPA per play for May. I'd be like, I'm listening. I'm listening. How much volume did I get? I don't need him to be literally 100th percentile like he was against the Panthers, or just absolutely crushing like we've seen him do numerous times. But I like that he has that on his resume. It's just that I don't think you necessarily need him to be at his very most efficient. Buck's side is similar, where we can get by on volume a little bit, and then the volume should be really condensed to Emeka Ibuka. The Patriots side part that's frustrating is I don't think the volume's that condensed. Stephon Diggs probably gets a little bit more with Booty out, but they play different roles in the offense.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams has taken over that Booty role, it looks like, a little bit, but it'll be split. He probably is like 60-something percent route participation and can't seem to draw targets. So I don't think he's very interesting. Maybe he helps funnel targets to the guys who care about.
He might be interesting.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, so like last week you talked about the May stuff, which and he wasn't connecting, but like that's Falcons design, right? Like the Falcons blitz a lot, but they play like a ton of zone coverage behind it. Like they're predicated on not giving up splash plays. So I think Booty probably would have had the same results if he played. Granted, he might not have, because it's he had been pulling stuff out of his hat for a while. But
and it's like one like just amazing throw where it's like, here's the ball.
But I don't think it's shocking that like Kyle Williams came in and didn't really do much in that role, because I don't think that role was going to be set up for success in that matchup. Vrabel talked about him during the week too, and talked about like how excited he was for him to have this opportunity, because he said that he was a guy that they threw a lot at to this point of the season, and that now he's comfortable and they're ready to see what he's got. I really think now with facing a more aggressive team that plays a little bit more man and single high stuff, like we might be able to see some of those shot plays. And then also in his profile coming out of college, like he was second in this draft class in yards per out run against man coverage. And like granted, this dude could be a complete zero. I'm definitely not saying that's like he could be a stone cold nothing and have 4 targets in this game. But I mean, I think he does offer a little bit more intrigue than based on just saying like, well, he came in and getting 8 targets last week. I think he was in a spot where that was probably more defensive design too, that like he was kind of that role in the offense was kind of shut out. So maybe, I mean, he's min priced. You maybe need a dude because there's the teams on bye this week are Cowboys, Chiefs, and Bengals, and just a ton of pass catchers. Like you got to reach in the bag somewhere.
You do.
So like, maybe he's a guy like you just take a flyer on.
Not a ton of salary saving guys either, not like punt running backs and stuff. So if you are stacking this game and you want to go min price Kyle Williams, I don't hate it. I mean, just so you know, for the listeners here, yards per route run, he had 2.40 on 9% route participation in week 1. Since then, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So not many flashes here, but the role, is important. He is probably taken over that deep threat role. Mac Hollins stayed in his regular old dirty work role. He had a 50% route participation against the Falcons, which is kind of where he normally is.
This guy's going to play forever.
Well, he's going to convert to tight end. He's on the Mercedes Lewis timeline. We're going to be talking about this guy in 2035. Demario Douglas had 33% route participation last week, so he didn't see an uptick with Booty out. And by the way, Booty was limited to 30% route participations, and he was at 88% the week before, 75, 74. So he's like a full-time player, roughly. And that opportunity was really gobbled up by Kyle Williams, at least from routes perspective. So very, very speculative.
I wouldn't expect like 8 targets. I definitely wouldn't expect like 8 targets or anything.
No.
It's just kind of like Booty. You're like hoping he cashes in on an opportunity at like min price, or because you just took a waiver flyer because there was nothing for you to pick up. Because he's a guy that probably is on your waivers if you are just like, man, I don't know who I'm playing for T. Higgins this week, or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase, or you had Tet McMillan and you were counting him. Maybe you're scrambling, right? We're
Yeah,
all in those spots.
I think this is like a spot where you could like you get
They're gonna
12
drop
points.
back. Like,
12 points from a 3K receiver, you're kind of doing cartwheels on this slate, right? So
oh, if he
I
scored a
don't.
touchdown, you would. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Like you would
that's what I'm
flip.
saying.
But I do think the other guys are it could get more, not necessarily at least the targets may be concentrated. Like Diggs is like, this is a perfect matchup if they did want to like extend his role even a little bit.
Totally.
It would be significant because he's been targeted on 28% of his routes against the blitz, 2.6.
Yep.
Well, first of all, he's just been good anyways. Like the only thing that's
Yeah.
roadblocking him is that he's been hanging around like that, like 68 to 72 like route participation stuff, like just not, if they just want to give him one game where a lot of dropbacks and he's like, he can even be around 75% this week with the amount of dropbacks we're expecting, and like the matchup's good enough for where he's winning in man coverage and against the blitz, like that's at his price. Because you've talked about it too, like not only do we have like pump plays, like this might be a week too, like we just have to take on more mid-rangey wide receivers. And
Totally.
like I'm like, well, Diggs kind of like has some stuff that looks optically like pretty positive, like if we could do that.
And the blitz
So
tends to like, it's not always the case, but it tends to concentrate targets. So like, like who's getting targets and is good and can get open. It's like,
right,
oh,
well, who do you trust? Yeah, like who?
who do you
Well, it's
trust?
also like first read stuff, like
First read stuff, yeah. Get the ball out, yeah. And it's like they got some stuff designed where it's like, well, we're going to make sure that you're getting open quickly so that we're not going to have as much time to throw. You got hot read stuff? That's normally someone you trust. So, yeah, Diggs has been good against the blitz, good against man. So I
And
like that call.
Henry also has a pretty positive signal against the blitz. And when Booty left last week, he was clearly second on team in targets. And he's the one guy too you can confidently count on, like his like participation being static. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't always lead to targets. Like he's just been Hunter Henry. Like Hunter Henry has been his whole career. Like you basically asked yourself, did Hunter Henry score a touchdown this week? No. All right. Well, he probably was pretty lame. And then did he score a touch this
yeah,
week? Well, he was pretty usable. But this
yeah.
might be a week where he has like a little bit of an impact where the participation stuff isn't necessarily limiting because we're getting more passing volume overall because of the game environment and potentially the defense. So it could help him out too. So,
And this is one of those things where people criticize the Patriots for, I mean, rightfully, they have had a very easy schedule. And, it it's not, it's easier to put up points and be efficient when you're going against the Saints and the Titans and the Panthers and the Dolphins. But these teams aren't really pushing back. And this is a game where I think, again, there's not a ton of high confidence game environments, but there's definitely potential for the Bucks to push back in a big way here and to do it through the passing game. So the clock is stopping. We're getting a ton of plays in this game from both sides, and the Patriots are like having to kind of really put their foot on the pedal to the floor, and we get passing volume from them in a way that they kind of don't have to do a lot of the times when they're playing really efficiently. So that's just a fun element of this game. On the Buck side, we talked about White. I agree. I mean, I think White to me, it's more of a season long thing of like, well, there's some dudes on bye and he's going to catch passes, so I'll throw him out there. But Tucker was siphoning off carries last week, and this is a really tough rushing matchup. So I
yeah.
think he's a very uninspiring play at running back. But you do have Igbuka, you've got Kate Otten. I think is probably playable. Tez Johnson kind of jumps out as potentially
Yep.
interesting. He was at 96% route participation with Shepard at 67% against the Saints. Johnson's been kind of decent. You know what I compared him to in the walkthrough? I compared him to Troy Franklin.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're both running out of the slot about half of their snaps. They're both incredibly skinny. Like, guys, you play football for a living. Like, maybe eat.
That's how they're so fast. Well, actually, Tez Johnson wasn't even fast measurably, but he was fast on
He
the.
wasn't.
It's funny. He ran a slow 40, but remember he ran the fastest time in the other.
Cone.
Yeah. They do the MPH like tracking on when the receivers running with the quarterbacks. He was
I didn't know this.
Yeah, he was the fastest dude when they ran the go routes to the quarterbacks. He had the fastest miles per hour of the receivers.
Interesting.
So it was a big thing. Like, what should we care about? It was like a thing
Did
like
he not train for the 40? Like,
because
what?
his
How does that
40
happen?
time was shit. Like, it was
Yeah.
terrible, especially for a dude of his weight. Like, it was like deplorable.
Baker
But
claims he weighs 142 pounds,
yeah, yeah.
which
But
can't be true.
yeah, when I had his prospect thing, his profile, like when I went back to, yeah, I forgot, like he ran the fastest time of the receivers in the go route drill. So it's just like, what
It's
are we
wild.
doing? Like, yeah,
But he's kind of like he's a deep threat slot. 12.6
yep,
ADOT.
yep.
Franklin's 13.3. They're both drawing targets more than you'd think based on their first read targets, which aren't great, but aren't terrible. They both get used in the screen game. And Tez actually, this is before last night, but he's at 1.59 yards per out run, which was higher than Franklin before Thursday Night Football. So I don't know. I mean, like I kind of talked myself into him this way. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
if I have, you know, Bucks Troy Franklin in this matchup, that could be pretty fun. So I think I might play some Tez.
Yeah, I think I'm more interested in him at his price point from a DFS perspective than I am Egbuka's, even though Egbuka's gonna be really popular. Just because he's more expensive, and then I worry about some of the split stuff with him because he's not Drake London. To getting open, he's been so bad against man coverage this year compared to zone, and it's like, do the Patriots use Gonzalez on him a little more because he doesn't move around as much as like a Drake London does to get away? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Drake London, all of his touchdowns came away from Gonzalez last week. He ran 16
And were
routes.
incredible plays.
Like, dude, like I wrote it up. I was like, I even put the clips. I very rarely ever put like clips in my stuff, but I was like,
Yeah,
this is the best catalog of catches a receiver has had in a game this season, like
it's wild.
easily.
Yeah.
But he ran 16 routes against Gonzalez and only caught 2 passes. The one big one where he let him know and got the penalty, the taunting penalty, but
Mm-hmm.
the rest of was on everyone else. The Bucks don't really have like other guys. I think that the Patriots are going to be like that concerned about. So I do have like a little bit of pause now. Egbuka is going to get 27% of the targets plus. So like, you're not scared. Like, from a floor perspective, he's going to draw targets. I wouldn't run away from him in any season long leagues. I'm just thinking about like how the field's playing from a DFS perspective. And I'm like, is this a guy I want to be lighter on? That's it. Like, I'm going to definitely have stacks this game as well, because the only way this game I think pops also for DFS is if the Bucks drive it.
The Bucks need to do something. Yeah.
Yes, the Bucks
Yeah.
have to drive it. So like, and if you're like Rachaad White and the running backs aren't going to do it, it has to be Egbuka,
I don't know if the Bucks
Johnson,
have to
Otten.
drive it. Like the Patriots,
But
I
for it
think
to
will
pop,
attack through the air. For it to pop. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for it to like
We
be
need
like,
both sides.
yeah, for it's like this is a single entry onslaught type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The Bucks are going to be the ones getting it to that like crazy game state.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots, if they're just playing with a lead, like they'll be fine. Like they'll still throw more. But like,
Right. Right.
we need them to push it. So, and we
We
didn't even
do.
talk about Henderson at all.
Well, why is that, Rich?
Yeah. Well, I think you got to be a little. It was funny because both sides kind of won last week, right? With the Henderson Wars.
Both
Because he
sides
played.
won. I had him in
Yeah.
lineups. He was fine. Rome Odunze. Wish you literally did anything to do something. Listen, I had a Manung guy. We talked a lot of shit on Manung
Yeah.
guy, but I had him in a Caleb Williams lineup. And it was Rome. It was Rome that killed me.
Yeah. Monongai, just like say, it's Bengals. They're not on a slate this week either. Bengals and Cowboys being off the slate and period is a
I know.
what are
We
we?
were like, there's no upside.
Can't just play dudes against the Bengals and Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I do think that, and I don't know like what Gretsch wrote this up as, like the signal versus, but like the Terrell Jennings goal line touch was pretty noisy in itself. It wasn't like Henderson got pulled at the goal line for Jennings. He was in on the drive, had a play, got him across the 50. Jennings came in, had like an 18-yard run, ran him down there, and just stayed in the game for that possession. But still 75% snaps for Henderson. And he ran 28 targets to 4 for Jennings. And that's what we care about in this matchup, because we don't expect the Patriots to line up and run the football on the Bucks. But the Patriots faced the Browns 2 weeks ago, and they did have some nice outside runs with Henderson. So maybe we get a little bit of that and him involved in the pass catching game. The Bucks are 30th in receiving points allowed to running backs. So again, like there's not a lot of mid-rangey guys this week to kind of be excited about. And I don't know necessarily I would even use excitement about him. It's just like, well, he's going to get some catches and some volume.
Yeah, 75% of the snaps last week, 70% route participation, 19% target share for Travion Henderson. But he only had 42% of the carries. So it wasn't just the touchdown. Jennings was siphoning off meaningful for work. And I think that would definitely be pretty concerning, if we thought that the path here was them running the ball. It's more like a PPR play.
Yeah.
And so I do like Henderson in season long, more than like a Rashad White, where it's kind of the same exact type of play. You're just like betting on the PPR, but I think Henderson is more interesting. Actually, I'm like, I'm like literally going to lower Rashad White to make sure I now have Henderson ahead. But yeah, I mean, I think, thinking through it more, I definitely prefer Henderson to White. But I don't love Henderson in DFS.
No.
We'll talk about ETN later, but like he's another guy in a similar price range. And when I think through like the profiles, I think I prefer ETN. But yeah, we'll discuss that soon.
Yeah, that's pretty much it though. Like I said, this game's gonna I think just be kind of pretty clear like what we're gonna get pretty early on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I could see this being like, because that Bills
late
game
chaos.
started really boring. I was watching that game in like the bar up the street, and we were just like, this game sucks. And then came home, and then the game got good. So I think this could be. You never know sometimes when these teams like it's like they're kind of not really. They're just kind of
That's
like a
true.
boxing match, just doing a
Have
little, and then they just start wailing.
yeah, and
third
the Bucks
quarter.
have had a lot of games where it takes them a while to.
Yeah, I could see some fourth quarter fireworks in this one for sure. All right, let's go to the next game I had in the walkthrough here was Giants at Bears. The Bears, man, they want to run the ball, and this is the spot to run the ball.
Yep.
Dead last in DVOA, the Giants. Dead last in EPA. Dead last in success rate. This is the worst run defense in the league. I'm not sure it's close. They actually have a good pass rush as well. So like there's incentive to run the ball and to avoid the pass rush. And then it's also like a rushing matchup you really, really want to attack. The 49ers had a 44% success rate, or sorry, not success rate, pass rate. They were much more successful. 44% success. What's wrong with my brain? 44% pass rate and a minus 9% PROE last week by the 49ers against this Giants defense. We predicted they were going to pound the rock. They pounded the rock. This is the beauty of a run funnel. It's like we can predict a game plan, then we see it happen, and I think we're going to see a pass rate kind of in this range for the. I mean, we saw 43% against the Saints from the Bears. They've been committed to the run here, and now they found a guy in Kyle Monangai that can be their downhill runner. I think Swift, who will be back this week, will have a solid role, but it was kind of split up before Swift was
out
hurt.
of the bye.
48% of carries against the Saints, and then 48% of carries against the Ravens. So, Monangai will have work here. I think it'll probably feel a little bit like Hubbard and Dowdle after Dowdle blew up, and we went back to the Hubbard experience, where you're like, what if you just played the guy who broke out?
Well, the difference is Swift's been really good.
Swift has been good. He's got a 43% success rate, which is like weirdly good for him. He's not been amazing. He's been better than Hubbard by a lot. But
he leads but he's also facing he leads all running backs in rate of runs for 10 or more yards, and he's facing the defense that allows the most runs. So even if we do have like a 60-40 split, or even if it's closer to 50-50, there's a chance for the way he's produced on runs that like he could still be good, and he's probably going to have all the more of the receiving stuff back too. But it's gonna be both guys.
1.52 yards per route run for him. He's been good in the receiving game.
Yeah, I mean that's the difference between like I wrote it up too. Like I don't think this is a Hubbard situation because Swift's actually been good, whereas like Hubbard was like pretty bad, and then was bad coming back. But then this matchup just lines up. I will say going forward after this though, like if you have Monangai and you're excited, you should start to be real worried after this. Like it gets because
the schedule.
But maybe not so much the Vikings next week, but they're like up and down when we get to them. But then they go Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers. Like and And like, 'cause this is a team, like the way the Bears want to operate coming out of the bye, their signal has been shown. But like, if they're not able to play that way, like he's obviously the most fragile piece, like
for
of
sure.
that, like that
For
role.
sure.
If he's like David Montgomery adjacent or something like that, like if they're not able to play the style of football they want to.
I
But
comped
this,
them in the
good,
walkthrough to Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. But
yeah,
in both
probably a little
cases, I
more, yeah.
prefer the Bears guys, where you're getting like we actually saw some rushing pop from Monangai last week, and Swift's been like a legit good receiver and actually has a good success rate, but you get that burst that Walker has. So it's kind of like the good version of the Seahawks backfield, basically, in a great rushing matchup.
And this week you're not worried about it because they're going to be able to run the football, and the weather's supposed to be crappy. So like, it's just going to be all right. Like they're just going to line up and run the football a lot this game.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a lot of this backfield. I think there's enough for both guys to be good. I do think there's probably a little more still upside here for Swift because of the receiving and the explosive runs, but it might not even matter in this matchup. It could still be a spot where the matchup just carries everybody.
Yeah, I think from a DFS perspective, it's tough because Swift is 6,100, and Monangai, who was very popular and did well, is now I think he's 56. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
56. So it's the pricing kind of keeps you off. I mean, obviously, if Swift was out and Monangai was 56, we'd be
Oh, if there's
jamming him.
one dude, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If Monangai was out, we would jam Swift for sure too. Uh, but this is yeah. I mean, it's a matchup where the passing game for the Bears isn't super interesting because it's just so clear. I mean, this is like Panthers level to me,
Yeah,
where there's like
look at Caleb's like completions and wins. Like he's got
the,
20, 19, 15, 17, and 22 completions in their wins.
mm. The
Like
other thing is that like his deal is that he runs around, it takes forever to throw, and then he generates some big plays, but the Giants pass rush is kind of the best thing they got going on defense. I don't think this doesn't set up to me as like an ideal Caleb spot.
mm,
And his big spikes have been very predictable. Is
yeah.
against the Cowboys and the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. I
Yeah.
didn't get
Oh,
to it
yeah.
until just now.
Yeah. We
He's
talked
only
about it
spiked
last
against the
week.
Cowboys and Bengals.
We talked about it last week when we talked about him. I was like, this is the most Cowboys adjacent game he's had, like
Yeah.
matchup wise. It was like literally the same thing. But
But he didn't
that's
do it
a
against the Raiders, right? He didn't do it against the
no.
Saints. Like
Nope.
he's not against the Commanders, a pretty vulnerable defense. Like he hasn't a good matchup isn't at least so far hasn't been good. He needs a great matchup to really spike.
And to be fair, maybe Dart can push them if the weather's not a thing.
Maybe.
So like, because there's been a couple spots where you're like, oh, the Giants aren't that fun here, but then they play in some relative relatively high scoring games. Like overall, it's weird because outside of the Denver, well, it's honestly none of them though. It was even the Denver game because it was a late Denver flurry is how the score got there. But all the Giants games have high point totals. Like last week, 58. Week before, 58 with the Eagles. Week before, 65. The week before that, 61. But like none of them are back and forth.
Right.
Like just the combined points end up getting there. Either Dart's doing something early
They
or he's
take
doing
turns.
something
They're
late.
like, all
Yeah.
right, we're
Yeah.
done. You guys want to score?
It's not like last week though, like trading blows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do think
Yeah.
Caleb, like I opened the week kind of like bullish on Caleb in this game in general. And then as Swift got up and then the weather, I was like, this is probably a very like clear, like Bears just run the ball spot.
I do like your call though that Dart is kind of the key to this game being more fun. And Dart's been good
He's the
and the
key to
Bears
everything.
defense is not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to become a they should keep Dayball guy.
Ooh, interesting.
Like all that matters is that Dart is good. And Dart has been good in Dayball's offense. So just keep Dayball.
Yeah, I could see
That's
it.
it. That's all my whole argument.
And I like Dart regardless, even if the weather is bad because he's going to run around. The Bears are also 24th in rushing points allowed per game to quarterbacks. Uh, you know, Huntley and Jaden Daniels went over 50 yards. Geno Smith had 30 yards against them. JJ McCarthy had 25 and a touchdown. So Dart's going to run around regardless in this matchup. And if by any means like the weather doesn't impact any of the passing stuff, it actually is a really good passing matchup for him, arguably his best that he's had to this point of him starting.
Yeah, so they have Jalen Johnson, an outside corner, and Kyler Gordon, nickel corner, both on IR. They've got the reserves there. Nashon Wright, Nick McLeod have both been liabilities. They still have their starting corner Tyreek Stevenson healthy, except he ranks 120th among 122 cornerbacks with 100 plus defensive snaps and yards allowed per coverage snap. The other guys are 95th and 102nd. So this is like a weak link system made up of 3 weak links at cornerback. So it's a pretty, like the Bears 27th in passing DVOA, 22nd in EPA, 29th in success rate. So this is a pretty bad pass defense to begin with, but the numbers probably overstate their strength. One minor concern, center John Michael Smits hasn't practiced this week on the Giants. Could be out for this game, so I would keep an eye on that. The Bears pass rush is like not great, but obviously losing your starting center isn't ideal for betting on the quarterback. So, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good matchup for Dart. I'm a little bit interested in Wan'Dale Robinson here.
I think there's a bull case to make for both receivers. It's just, like I said, I mean, it's an equal opportunity defense.
The guy,
and they've been pretty good against the run since the bye. The Bears, like I mean, you would think they would drive the Giants to push to pass if the weather's not involved.
And the Giants' run game not the same without Scadaboo. So and we saw Wan'Dale back in kind of the short ADOT stuff, so they may be kind of pivoting him.
Yeah, they were playing Ray McLeod at outside receiver.
This is the one I teased. 92% route participation for Ray McLeod. Squirrel Patrol mentioned him as a possible DFS play.
Yeah, so did High-Low, and I said I'm not doing it. but fair enough. Like that's why I said it's an uncomfortable slate. Like you definitely have to play if you want to like be team jam him in this week. Like, you got to play a shitty dude.
I think he's on. If you're making a list of shitty dudes that you can actually play, he has to be on that list.
Yeah.
He ran all the routes, and it's a really good matchup.
Yep.
And we just talked the nickel corner is one of the guys who's out, although all 3 corners stink, so it doesn't really matter. But I guess
but that would still be Wan'Dale, because
Wan'Dale. Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, Wan'Dale still did it. Like Wan'Dale didn't move. It was just because Ray McLeod, like historically, has been like the guy you want to move into the slot.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Like he basically just was Lil Jordan Humphrey.
They're kind of doing the Bucks thing when they had Ibuka, Tez and Shepard. It's like hoops all slot. And then the Giants are going to take that. They need to replace Slayton with I don't know who would be good. Greg Dortch. Trade Slayton for Greg Dortch.
Just get all the dudes.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I kind of like the Giants. It's not like an absolute smash spot because of the game environment, but sometimes we see this pan out okay, where one team's like efficiently scoring on the ground and then the other team has to pass a bunch. Do you have any interest in Theo Johnson here?
Not like a ton. I think it's positive. It's just that Theo Johnson's just such a guy that's dependent on like that red zone role, and he does have it, to be fair. It's just he does nothing but score outside of scoring touchdowns, and like to me, like that type of player is always just so hard to chase in fantasy football. Like, I mean, he has 34 receiving yards or fewer in every game but one this season. But when Dark and the Giants get in the red zone, like he's involved. Only Dallas Goedert has scored more fantasy points off touchdowns than Theo Johnson. 38% of his points, but he has a 32% red zone target share from Dart. So it's real. It's just touchdown or nothing. I'm definitely more interested in the 2 wide receivers. Obviously I don't have any pushback if like you're streaming Theo or you're playing him or you just you don't care if he doesn't score. Like, all you care about him is scoring that touchdown. But
right. Yeah. I mean, he's very stackable with Dart because you're.
I mean, so are the receivers. They're both affordable. There's, like I said, bull case to make for both guys. I mean, the Bears are 30th in points allowed to slot receivers. They're also allowing the league's highest catch rate to wide receivers on throws 10 and 20 yards downfield. You just need Slayton to like not want to leave one of these plays on the field. It's every week with this dude. He leaves a huge play on the field. Now, one was taken from him on the OPI. That was like a phantom OPI, but he had the 2 plays against the Saints that would have pushed him into a ceiling week. And then last week he has a 34-yard touchdown in his hands and for some reason sticks his own arm out to not protect the ball. And it causes the ball to come out because he braces himself. He takes takes his hand off the ball to brace himself. Like, just fall down, dude. Like, you're paid millions of dollars. Like But and
Yeah.
he doesn't hold on to the ball because of that. But he's over 20% target share 3 games in a row. I think both guys are interesting to play with him. I'm waiting to see kind of how things shake up. I think if the weather is bad, I'm more drawn to Wandale, like the shorter target stuff.
Yeah.
And then if it's like fine, I might chase the ceiling stuff. But both guys are priced in an area where, because there's a lot of guys like that are getting popped in Sims early, where I'm like, that dude's not as good as Darius Slayton, like like it has a role like Darius Slayton. So like I would go back to him again if like the weather's fine and like he's not really tracking for any ownership.
Right now, Kevin Roth has a bit of rain, snow
Yeah,
mix is possible. Currently
I saw you
thinking more
like
snow than rain pregame. 15 to 20-mile-an-hour winds with
yeah
gusts up to 30.
he had this one as like an orange one early, but and
He's
this
got
stuff like
yellow/orange now.
this
No
stuff
one
always is
factor here is a
very
complete game
fluid.
changer, but the wind, precipitation, and cold is not ideal.
Yeah,
So it
and
seems
then
okay.
yeah, and it could be nothing by the time we get there.
Yeah, worth keeping an eye on for sure. Um, Anything on the Bears passing game?
No, just because of the like I think there's the signal for Rome if you want to do just the week prior to this he had 10 targets. I don't think we need to panic. The matchup for the man coverage stuff, you've probably heard people cite it. Again, I just don't think there's gonna be a lot of target distribution in this
Mhm.
game. I'm fine. I'm gonna probably mix Rome into some stuff, but like he's the only one. Like I'm not gonna chase Loveland here because I don't think there's gonna just be enough completions to go around. Giants also been kind of sneaky good against tight ends too. And Loveland 2 weeks ago when he had the run out with Komet out, like wasn't very good either. So, and that was in a game like they were trailing. So I think it's just Rome or nothing for me here.
Yeah, I feel similarly. I mean, you also have Luther Burden coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love if that meant we could play Luther Burden. It does not. But Burden has been like getting meaningful work. Like he had 39% route participation against the Commanders in week 6, then 33%. He had 31% targets per route run in that a game against the Commanders, 22%. Against the Saints, he was at 20%. Against the Ravens, although only played 12% because he had a concussion. But he's stealing like meaningful targets. Like these are not targets you want to be giving up if you've got DJ Moore or Olamide Zacchaeus, like or even Loveland. Like it's just not a thing you want added to the offense. And I think he'll be back in kind of that normal role.
Yeah.
So
He's Chicago Marvin Mims, man. It's,
that is what he is. Yeah. Wish it was not what he is, but that's what he is. I'm sad now. You've really bummed me out, but it's a good
well,
point.
that's what like you can get a splash play. Like, he's a
Yeah.
splash play guy. Like if the game environment's hot, like maybe you can run into something.
Yep.
Because he's still like all the like even on a small sample, like he's turning in explosives.
Yeah. Kind of wish they would play him, but they won't.
Well, like I said, I do expect the Bears to run the football here effectively and ultimately win this game. And I think that's what drives this game into potentially being kind of more meandering and lower like
Mhm.
passing volume from the Bear side. Um,
Totally. Totally.
Dart, someone I'm just like not concerned about because like DraftKings refused to change his price. Uh, and I'm like, all right, well, okay, because he's been the Q before since he took over, and like keeps getting
He's been
priced at
good,
like
man.
in the mid like fives, and it's just like this dude's cheaper than Jared Goff again. Cool, like all right, like
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Bills at Dolphins. Another game where I feel like we're dealing with a run heavy offense. This one though, obviously you have Josh Allen. So even if they run a lot, you could have a really efficient game from him. And what if they don't? Like, what if they don't? They could absolutely smash, but they are going to. James
yeah,
Cook's been awesome. You can't really even fault them. They went run heavy against the Chiefs last week, but won. Right? They have been kind of smashing teams. Um, Now they did go run heavy against the Patriots and Falcons and lost both games, but whatever. They went into their bye after losing 2 games by going run heavy, and then went super duper run heavy in the next 2 games and have gotten wins. So the pivot was to pass even less. And I think in this matchup, where Dolphins opponents are averaging just a 56% pass rate, which is also what the Bills are averaging this year. Dolphins opponents have a -4% PROE. This is a team you run on. This is a big time run funnel. Um, James Cook set up really well here. I actually kind of feel like he's a little underprojected. I understand why, where he's not getting targeted and you
Yeah,
have to like,
he's like old school Jonathan Taylor somehow. Like, how did we get
yeah,
here? How did we
it
get
is.
here?
It's very Taylory, I'm willing to bet if you're telling me I need to bump up a little efficiency, I'm willing to bump it up here.
Yeah.
I think he'll be
Yeah.
very efficient, very, very efficient.
Yeah, especially the last 2 weeks running on the Chiefs and Panthers. I'm pretty confident he will as well. The run games. Also, low key, the Bills, we never talk about it. Their offensive line is awesome. Like, we never even give them like
We
credit.
never
Like,
really give him that credit. Yeah,
their offensive line is been good for like 3 years in a row. Like, it's been
they're number 2 in run block win rate.
I mean, they have all Deion Dawkins is awesome. Spencer Brown's awesome. Like, I feel like it kind of flies under the radar with the Bills because Josh Allen carries so much cachet. But like, their offensive line is great.
Yeah, they're number 1 in pass block win rate, number 2 in run block win rate, 5th in PFF's pass block grades,
And it's been like years. It's been like
7th in the run
multiple
block
years
grades.
running. They've been like really good. And like
Why
we
don't
never
we
really
talk about that?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a great point.
They're great though. Like a great offensive line and a run first team. Yeah, they're gonna be fine here. I will say this though, like this game's fun because the Dolphins very rarely ever beat the Bills, but they hang around. And, and that's we care, at least for fantasy football, we care about that. Josh Allen is 14-2 against the Dolphins. But I think he's 1-5 as a favorite of more than a touchdown against them. And we saw them at home. They were 12-point favorites against the Dolphins earlier this year. And the Dolphins pushed them. And if the Dolphins do hang around, we know why they hung around. They're two good players on their
Right.
offense.
Right.
So you got
Right.
Devin Achane. And remember the last time these teams played was on a Thursday night. Devin Achane had a reduced workload that week on a short week. Now he's at the inverse. He's coming off of a Thursday game and has the long rest, and Ali Gordon's kind of banged up. So I think he's gonna have a high workload. And then Waddle's been really good since the Tyreek Hill trade, like we all thought, right? Like,
Yeah.
Because Mike McDaniel's one of the other one of these coaches. Like, if he's gonna get the ball to the guys that are the best football players at the given time, and right now at the given time, like Jalen Waddle is clearly one of the best football players on the team. Since they've lost Tyreek Hill, he's the wide receiver 4 in yards per out run. He's the wide receiver 3 in air yards. He's the wide receiver 5 in receiving yards. He's been a top 25 scorer in 4 of those 5 games with 2 wide receiver 1 scoring weeks. And the Bills are 31st in points allowed to wide receiver 1s. So if this game is like the Dolphins do push back, and we have more evidence of the Dolphins being like a competent offense this year than a bad one. They do have a few outright duds this year, but if they do push, it's going to be because of these two guys.
Yeah, that you mentioned 4 or 5 games has been awesome. That 5th game does make me nervous. That was the Browns game. It's 0.56 yards per out run in that game as Tua just completely melted down. He was 0th percentile in EPA per play in that game. And pressure, man, you can't like he's tricky because 2.49 second time to throw is the fastest in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is in second place at 2.57 seconds. It's a pretty big gap. He's getting the ball out really, really quickly, which you would think would be a good fit for this matchup because the Bills do have a pretty decent pass rush. But the problem that I have is like it's not just that Tua gets the ball out quickly. It's that like he clearly is super sensitive to pressure and can kind of melt down under pressure. Bills are 4th in quick pressure rate and 2nd in pressure rate. It's a pretty good pass rush. They're really bad run defense.
I mean, he was buns the first time they played. I think he had 4 yards per pass attempt the first time they played.
Yeah. So I'm worried about Tua.
You're not cared about Tua. Like, yeah, I don't expect Tua to be good. But I guess you're worried about the crater. Well, you're worried about the crater. I worry about a
crater.
Yeah.
Tua can absolutely crater. We've seen it. It's just like the whole offense is ruined. So that's the part that concerns me. It makes me more nervous about Waddle than Achane because this run defense does stink, and they're down at Oliver now for the rest of the year. So and they're already 30th in DVOA, 29th in EPA, and 26th in success rate. Maybe that's overstating how good they are even. And Ali Gordon is banged up. He's expected to play, but Achane's not a guy where you're like, oh, is he not going to get 22 carries? Like, yeah, he's not, and that's fine. That's not what you're betting on. So he'll get enough, and he'll also get plenty of receptions. So I think Achane's a really strong play here, even with my concern about Tua. Waddle, I have more as a high end wide receiver 2. I wanted to be more excited than I am. It's just that Tua's just this is a good enough pass rush where the bottom could fall out.
And they were on. The only difference is they can't play the same way they did against the Chiefs. Man, Matt Nagy, what were you doing last week? Last week the Bills just wanted to play dime and rush 4 and rush 3. Like Big Lou did this to Mahomes a few times, but like Matt Nagy and the Chiefs just wanted to throw downfield. Like they wanted to do nothing short. That's the opposite here. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to throw short the whole game. Pretty much. Like right away, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be the concern. But if it's a push where the Dolphins are pushing, though, the outcome is just like where it's coming from.
Well, how interested are you in Allen in the passing game? Because you kind of need the Dolphins to push back a bit, I think, given how the Bills have been playing recently.
Yeah, like I said, the first game Tua was pretty bad, and they still found a way to push because the run game was good enough, and he completed enough passes. So I think that they'll get a little push. I don't expect Josh Allen to throw 30 plus passes, but I expect him to be efficient when he throws because everyone's been efficient against the Dolphins all year.
Awesome.
They're bad. They blitz a ton, but they blitz for no reason because they don't get pressures on blitzes.
Blitz for no reason.
Yeah, they blitz for no reason. They blitz just for the hell of it. Like, and
they're
then
31st in EPA on blitz drop back.
yeah, it's crazy,
man.
It's absolutely.
So
and
they blitz at the third highest rate per drop.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. You don't have Jalen Phillips anymore, who was traded away. Like
blitz for no reason. It's so
blitz for no reason. Just to do it, man. It's like the kid that plays Madden. Engage 8, baby. Engage 8. This is what I do. So we're coming. It's like, all right, man. Like I just been marching down the field on you. Don't care. No, man. This is what we're doing.
Well, we do.
Yeah, I mean, the Lamar, the same thing. Like this, all those blitzes don't get home. Guys are open. Guys are running into each other. Like I expect them to be efficient. It's the thing with the Bills is you're still not like super excited about like really all the guys. Shakir, you know what you get out of, and then Kincaid is probably a little more bullish here to where like Achane, you don't even care that he's going to be on the field for 55% of the snaps or running routes.
But I do care, man. I really do.
He can be so efficient in this matchup. Well, you do big picture, but I think in this match it might not matter because the Dolphins are allowing the 31.2% of the catches against the Dolphins have been tight ends. Not only that, they've allowed the most receptions with 20 more yards to tight ends, and that's exactly what Dalton Kincaid's doing right now. He's third in the NFL, not tight ends. Like he's behind Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nacua in yards per out run. Now some of that's inflated because he's not only running around at 50.
He only done running routes, yeah.
He's not running routes, but he averages 9.2 air yards per catch. He's averaging 15 yards per catch. Like, so if you're looking for a guy that has to operate with high efficiency, this would be the matchup for him to operate like on high efficiency, like low value.
He's tight end 1 in open score, in addition to being tight end 1 in yards per route run, obviously, and then first target rate of 18%.
He's the only dude that gets big plays in the passing game for them.
Yeah. No, I do understand why he's not running more routes because they use Dawson Knox and Jackson Hawes.
Well, he's really a wide receiver.
He's really a wide receiver, and so he's basically just like a big slot that they rotate. And
he's such a dynasty trade too. Like,
if you what could you get? You got to be shopping them.
Especially if you're like an FFPC or something where like tight ends are like so juicy, like, or if you're in a league it's tight end premium. Because I think you brought this up too. We talked about like next year people are going to be like Dawson Knox to be a free agent. People are going to sell. It's like, dude, Jackson Hawes is just new Dawson Knox.
100%. 100%. Now I do think if Knox left, maybe he'd get up at least like to 60% route participation, right? 65, I would be.
I will say this: at least he's doing his role well this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm into Harold Fannin. Isn't this the same profile?
It is. We know. Well, Fannon's
starting to run more routes.
Fannon's a good blocker, though. Like, I remember coming out in my college thing. I was like, man, this dude's a way better blocker than anyone gives him credit for.
I know. It's like one of those things where he's not like gonna block Myles Garrett or something, but it's like, guess what? They're never gonna ask him to, so it doesn't matter. Can he block a nickel back? Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
and that's helpful. Yeah, I like the Dalton Kincaid call. He's been so good. So that's an interesting one.
This would be the one. And then the Dolphins did cut Tanner Connor today with Julian Hill coming back. So it looks like it's going to be Dulcich like still in this like quasi like whatever we're doing with this. So like,
do you think we're going to get the Darren Waller ramp up?
I don't know. Just because like Dulcich just like takes such a leap of faith to trust himself, but
Have you seen if Mike McDaniel loves his hair?
I love his hair.
I love his hair too.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett loved his hair, and that's what drove his early
Yeah,
career
this dude
success.
is he's Indigo Montoya. Like, yeah, love this dude. Great
Uh,
locks.
he's literal locks, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ravens at Vikings. We have the Brian Flores defense, which blitzes at the highest rate per dropback in the league. They get the highest rate of quick pressure, the highest rate of pressure. They're actually a good blitzing team. They're not blitzing for no reason. They're blitzing for a very important reason, which is that they don't get pressure. Things get wonky on the
Yep.
back end. That worked really well against Goff last week, who's normally good against the blitz. He now gets Lamar Jackson, who's even better against the blitz. Does Jackson light up this Vikings defense?
Yeah, Brian Flores wrecked my wagon last week.
Yeah.
Specifically he had Jahmyr Gibbs in hell last week. Oh, like
Mhm.
absolute jail with those interior blitzes. Like, and Dan Campbell talked about it this week about how like they just didn't adjust, and it's like that's what's going on at the Lions. Lions are just here. We'll get to the Lions. I'll say that. But Brian Flores did an excellent job of putting Jahmyr Gibbs into a bad spot. But when they didn't get pressure, like Jared Goff was still 18 to 24, just under 9 yards or pass attempt. And like you said, that's been the story of the year for them. When the Vikings don't get pressure, they're 29th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 20th in touchdown rate allowed. And if you don't get pressure on Lamar Jackson, like that's a problem as well. I'm very curious though to see what Brian Flores does in this game, because if you remember, like back in 2021, the last time these teams played, this was like a fulcrum point for Lamar Jackson's career, and specifically Greg Roman doing a terrible job that night. Remember, this was like they played on, I think it was a Thursday night or a Sunday night game. It was definitely a primetime game, but Brian Flores just spammed cover zero blitzes. He had 21 cover zero blitzes against Lamar Jackson. It was by far the most Lamar Jackson's
Spags
ever
just did
faced
this
a
to
game.
him earlier
Yeah.
this year too.
And there was a
Yeah.
couple times where that happened after this, like we found the thing, because that's those kind of worked a little bit against Lamar, even under Todd Monken. So Lamar's amazing blitz numbers against since he's had Monken, but cover zero under Monken. This is not just like this year. This is the 2 years plus. He only has a 54% completion rate and 4.6 yards per pass attempt against cover zero. And last year I wrote about this in the playoffs when the Bills calibrated. It's like choosing a lesser of evils, because Lamar is Lamar. He's going to do some Lamar stuff in the game. But if you play just like zone and zone blitzes, like Lamar is absolutely killing. Like 12 yards per pass attempt under Monken. Again, not even just this year. 9.7 yards per pass attempt to get zone coverage in general under Monken. Like these all lead the league. And then man blitzes, it goes down to 7.5 yards per pass attempt. That's still 13th in the league, but it's like it's not first in the league. So you're like you're choosing like the lesser of evils of like, hey, this dude's a really good player. How can we just disrupt him in any capacity? And although the Vikings don't play, like they play a lot of zone behind their blitzes, they still are actually third this season in rate of cover zero this year. So I'm very curious just to see what he does. Now, I think Lamar's still going to be very good here. And indoors, and the Ravens are just so good in general with under Monken with Lamar. Like they're averaging 6.4 yards per play when he's been on the field this year. By far would be number one. So, but I am just, the cat and mouse game is intriguing to me.
It's intriguing to me too. And this is one of those games I talked about, kind of like low confidence but high upside. And this is very much on that list for me, where I can see the Vikings being pretty fun here. And I can see the Ravens being really, really fun. But I could also see Brian Flores, like he did last week, kind of getting the better of the opposing quarterback. So it's not locked in.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings defense has been a big run funnel. Teams are averaging a 55% pass rate against them with a minus 5% PROE and a 4% shift to the run. But the Vikings aren't that bad against the run. And it seems
Well, they're all
clear
over the
that
place.
they're little, yeah, they've been, but they've obviously they're quite good last week. It's more that teams are kind of avoiding this blitzing defense, from the pass perspective, than they are like attacking a big weakness. Like this isn't the Giants, this is a solid run defense. It's just like running on them helps you avoid the pass rush. Well, what if Lamar's cooking against the pass rush and is attacking a pretty weak secondary? Like there's the numbers that say, oh, you run on the Vikings might not apply here. This might be a spot where actually you pass on the Vikings, kind of like we saw with the Eagles. The Eagles were very effective when they played the Vikings and had big plays downfield. And so there's definitely upside for that here. Zay Flowers just got double teamed a ton against the Dolphins, 42% double coverage rate, his highest of the year by far. He hasn't actually faced that much double coverage this year. It's only 53rd percentile in double coverage rate. The Vikings double cover at the highest rate in the league. So it could be a tough game for Flowers. He's also kind of volatile here. He could also rack up a bunch of targets against the blitz. But Bateman is someone who I'm like more interested in than usual. Another one of these like, Slayton-y guys where you're like, yeah, I think in this week, maybe, we bet on some big plays downfield. If you get extra defensive attention to Flowers, if we're kind of betting on, the Ravens maybe to be achieving success more in like fits and starts than just like, amazing success rate, play after play, moving the ball downfield in chunks, but instead hitting them for big plays.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Bateman fits that pretty well. So he's someone that jumped out to me in this matchup. And then you do have Derrick Henry, who, what if they do lean on the run? He could be the engine of the offense if the blitz is really disrupting Lamar. So there's like a number of ways I can see this game playing out, but there's some fun angles.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, so we're getting the Ravens like indoors, which is like not something we very often get them, playing on turf, which is kind of fun. A team that can definitely create explosives too. I kind of see it similarly. Like I can see the Vikings having like maybe even have like a decent success rate here, but like when they give up plays, like they're going to give up explosives, I think. To this Ravens offense. Like it's going to be a game still where it evens out. Like we're maybe I should approach that differently. Maybe I should say the Ravens have maybe a lower success rate in offense than typical, but still have like a high yards per play.
And that's what I bet on last week, because I was like, I kind of liked Goff last week and thought that he I had a stack with
and
him.
They still scored. The passing stack still cashed. Like I had a Lions passing stack that was still good.
Yeah. But the problem was the success rate was lower than usual, and then the efficiency was also lower than usual. But you want them to be kind of like more like the Eagles model. But the Vikings are 26th in preventing explosive plays. They're 24th in coverage grade. They're 31st in allowing efficiency in the splash zone, 10 plus yards and over the middle. So they are allowing like those big chunk plays that create yak. You can see Andrews getting loose in the middle of the field, Flowers, getting some of those targets. Maybe there could be some real highlight throws and highlight plays on the Ravens side. On the Vikings side, I'm kind of diverging from some of the enthusiasm with JJ McCarthy last week, where he was 21st percentile in EPA per play against the Lions. He was 17th percentile in success rate. Like that was a defensive driven win, I think.
Special teams and defense were huge for them last week.
Yeah. And so McCarthy, like, oh, maybe McCarthy's not so bad. That narrative I'm selling, like, we never should have been as confident that he was atrocious as we were with 2 games on his resume. And we still shouldn't be confident that he's really bad, but I don't think that last week gave us like a ton of reason to think he's good. However, if you look at this matchup, this is a spot where a McCarthy style quarterback, even if not very good, could have a good game. And that style, by the way, is a semi-mobile, Bo Nixian type of rusher. They have like almost identical rushing stats this year. At least they did heading into Thursday. And you have a guy who holds the ball a really long time, but who is attacking deep. He has the highest deep attempt rate in the NFL. And so you have this profile that looks kind of similar to like Jackson Darts, a little bit like, Jalen Hurts with it, obviously worse rushing equity. You don't get the tush push and stuff, but it's like this kind of Bo Nix level rusher, but he's like he's holding the ball and attacking downfield, kind of like a Justin Fields, but with not as much rushing equity, like Drake May. Drake May's 3.07 second time to throw. McCarthy is at 3.10, so they're very similar there. He's tied with Jackson Dart. Dart is probably the best comp, where you have this rushing equity that's not amazing but is something, and then you've got a guy who's attacking downfield. Well, the Ravens pass rush isn't good. They're very banged up. Nnamdi Madubuike's been out for weeks. Broderick Washington now on IR. Tavius Robinson, who's on IR. They traded Odafe Owe to the Chargers to get Alohi Gilman. So they just don't really have any dudes in
they
the pass
traded for
rush.
Draymond Jones this week.
Yeah, they did, but I mean, I don't think
I
it's
mean,
gonna like.
it's a body.
It's a
I'm
body.
saying like, yeah, they are aware of it too, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Hamilton's kind of the guy right now.
Yeah,
Like,
he's basically just playing edge linebacker.
right, and that's what. So the Gilman trade's been helpful that way. But I mean, they're 29th in quick pressure rate, they're 30th in pressure rate, and they've lost a couple other dudes other than Matabike now with Washington, so and Robinson. So yeah, it's a spot where like, okay, you probably can hold the ball against the Ravens, and you can kind of run around and like, be like a little Caleb Williamsy, right? Which doesn't mean you're gonna actually succeed because Williams flopped in this very matchup, but it's intriguing to me. I think the Vikings could actually be pretty funny. Like even if McCarthy's bad, ultimately, like big picture, he's a bust. I think this could be a good game, and so that has me kind of intrigued. And you've got Jordan Addison, who I think is kind of interesting in this game. Obviously, Justin Jefferson. Like Justin Jefferson, if McCarthy's good and comes alive in this matchup, like he could break the slate straight up. So I think Jefferson's really fun. And yeah, Addison's fun too. So this is like super low confidence for me, especially because Christian Darrisaw popped up on the injury report, which would be a huge problem for the Vikings if he's out. But my, it's on my radar.
Yeah, I want to see what McCarthy looks like just put like in negative game state. We haven't seen it yet, right? Like they've been able to kind of nurse him along in all of these games. Even the game that they outright like were
Well, the
never
Falcons,
really
they were, right?
well, they were never really in it, but like the Falcons didn't really do anything either. So like
Yeah.
it wasn't like, like I would love to see the Ravens go up like 14-0 here. Like, and then just see what happened to like actually have like a nice like sampling to see like, why McCarthy, what do you have? Right. Like it's all the same stuff he did at Michigan. Like, just kind of coaxing along, like makes enough plays, but like misses plays too. Like you're like, all right, man, you can see it, like he has it there in that play, like that throw to nailer. You're like, all right, we got it. Like, and then like he had
The good
another
plays look good.
yeah, and then he had another play like third down earlier in the game that was like atrocious, like a bad miss for a wide open dude. And it's just like, all right, like it's still not like very even. There's not a lot of consistency. So I would love to see them just put in a negative game state where we get more so for the receivers because Jefferson's still been really good with McCarthy. Like target share hasn't been an issue. He's over 2 yards per route run in all these games, but like he's running 27 routes per game with JJ McCarthy. Like that's not enough. You have to operate. If you're running 27 routes per game, you have to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like,
right.
And it's just like really hard to do that. Like only one dude's ever done it ever, and he's doing it right now. But like,
totally.
with Wentz, he was running 39 routes per game, and it's not like he was like amazing. He was still really good, but like when you're running 39 routes per game, you get a lot more leeway and you can stack volume. It's just harder to stack volume, and it's harder to go crazy for fantasy football when you're asked to win efficiently on 27 routes. Because even right now, JJ McCarthy's not Sam Darnold, so you don't have that going. He doesn't have that going for him, which is funny because they could have Sam Darnold, but here, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely,
they're just a wild card. We won't know until we see it.
Yeah, but the upside's like really high. Like this is a game environment that we could see. Like we could be talking about Lamar pushing the Vikings throughout this game. Lamar is also underpriced, so like Lamar is a really strong play in DFS. I like him a lot at 6,800. I think he's kind of a smash. But if you do want to play, and I think I do. If Darrisaw, and I'm looking, he doesn't have a designation. Maybe he just rested on Thursday, but Darrisaw being out would really suck. But if he's in, then I think I'm going to have at least one stack of this game. I might even do the thing where I've been playing 6 lineups for a while. I might like play 7 to have a McCarthy one and not ruin my normal 6. But I'm kind of excited about the potential for the Vikings to be pushed and McCarthy to be able to play like his style of football in an environment where he can kind of get away with that with the total lack of pass rush. So, and it's like, dude, if you give me decent quarterback play, then the weapons can carry you. Like, just get to the 50th percentile and like they'll carry you over the line. You know,
Yes, you
we
got the
don't need
pieces.
him. Yeah, like just be okay. Just please be okay and have decent pass volume. I mean, McCarthy, I think is 4,900. Yeah, he's 4,900 on DraftKings.
Yeah, so he's cheap. Yeah, he's definitely cheap enough, especially when you get a lot of dropbacks and he can run.
Is he going to make your? I know you have a tight quarterback pull.
Probably
I
not.
assume he's not going to make it.
Probably no, but it's a pretty good sell though. Like, because I'm into the Ravens pushing them.
Yeah,
Like, so yeah, I mean, to
and
be
we need
fair,
salary.
yeah, we do need salary. And
Of course, then you have to play him with Jefferson at 7,900. So your salary is
yeah,
immediately gone.
yeah, it's gone. To be fair though, like probably later I was gonna try to sell you on 4,300 Davis Mills. So like, what's the difference?
Yeah, you're not. I'm going McCarthy all day, all day. I can't do Mills, man. I can't.
Yeah, well, Mills you don't have to stack. That's the thing.
I
You
mean,
just
you could stack McCarthy Addison. He's 5,400.
yeah, you can, and like you could do Schultz too, but I'm not doing that. It's literally a play just to get to team jam him in, right? Like it's the old school
Mm.
paid for a pay down quarterback while on a slate where people are going to pay down for wide receivers because you want to get CMC plus Puka or Amon Ra, like plus Dowdle. Like you want to get the dudes in, and like people are going to be building rosters this week through a bad receiver. But because like a McCarthy and like a Davis Mills,
I've heard people tout Kyle Williams, dude.
yeah, well, I brought him up a little bit. It's like
I
a
know.
min price, like
That's
Ray
what I'm
McLeod.
talking
Oh,
about.
you were bringing up me, Ray McLeod. Yeah, we got Ray McLeod thrown out. I got one more real bad one later too. Just wait. But if you want to go the inverse route and just say, hey, McCarthy, which I think is a great shout for this same premise, or Davis Mills, you play them a la carte. You don't even have to stack them. And
Yeah.
you're not counting on them to give you a tournament worthy score at their salary. You're just counting them to beat salary because of what it does for the rest of their roster. Because if you beat salary at quarterback, that is more significant than like our 3K receiver just beating salary and getting 11 points. Like if a Mills or McCarthy has like an 18 or 20 point game, or God forbid, even one of them gets to a bonus, you're in a way better spot then because you paid up for another wide receiver and you were able to kind of create a proxy of what people already were getting out of quarterbacks anyways. So there's just a way to play through that slate where you don't have to you just play the cheap quarterback and you hope that hits because that's allowing you to jam in the other guys.
Naked McCarthy. It's kind of interesting.
I mean, to be fair, it was a pretty good sell because of I was already in on the Ravens pushing them anyways, whereas really my only sell for Mills when we get there is the Jaguars are terrible. But
now, if you're sold on McCarthy, do me a favor and don't watch the video of him becoming 9. That's just going to get you off of
just gonna
playing
give you
him.
off, yeah.
Yeah,
But no, I think it was solid, yeah. So
yeah, not a big, not real into that. Someone was comparing it to the Russ Wilson stuff. Seems
yeah, there was some of that after the game, and yeah, there is a little bit. But I mean, listen, yeah, he's a Harbaugh disciple. Like, what do you expect out of these dudes? Like, you know what I mean? Like Harbaugh indoctrinated that dude. Like,
yeah,
it's like peak
yeah.
Harbaugh shit.
That is some peak Harbaugh shit for sure.
Yeah. Like Herbert's immune to it. Like basically, Harbaugh had to go out of his way this offseason to basically stop short of calling Herbert Jesus because Herbert's so passive. Because just Herbert's just such like a
Herbert does seem like more fired up this year though.
Yeah.
It seems like he's broken through.
Yeah, like Harbaugh's like, dude, how do I get through this dude? Like, I just got to tell him he's Jesus. Like, I gotta let him know, like he's football Jesus. Like, it's the only way.
What do
I'm
you think
through.
Herbert's alter ego is? Is it like Herb and he's just like also like a pretty chill dude?
Yeah, it would fit a Herb too. Like, it's like,
yeah. Hey, it's Herb.
Yeah, Herb. Yeah,
Hey, Herb's here. What's up, man? Hey.
But yeah, JJ McCarthy is the Harbaugh of Harbaugh quarterbacks, like for sure.
For sure. All right. Let's
I
go
like
to
it.
Yeah, I'm kind of into it. I'm gonna play a lineup.
Yeah, I think that was solid. I think it was a solid sell.
Yeah, we'll see. It might it might flop. But this is a slate. Like the other thing that you're selling yourself on, by the way, when you do these like cheap quarterbacks, is that like I win a tournament with like 205 points.
Yeah.
Do I need 245? Maybe not.
Yeah. And this might be a slate for that, to be honest, because It's not a super quarterback driven slate, although we could have quarterback like there's the argument to make for spike week quarterbacks. So we talk about Josh Allen, we talk about Mar, but there's enough volatility that maybe they don't get there. So it makes
Yeah,
it
and
fun. That's what makes it
it's a
fun.
tough week where, like, in a big enough tournament, someone will have all the right pieces together, but it's a week where I feel like someone's winning, one of these smaller field, like the smaller spy might have a snowflake in the winning lineup type of week, which is like hard to be like right about all the
And to
things.
be fair, we have not had a slate this year where like, I mean, man, I've been dude, last week I had like so many 195 to 205s and you have one piece bad, you can't win.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
week might be the first week where we have like you just don't you can actually potentially be in like the front end of the circle with a miss maybe because
That's
people are
how
going
it
to be
feels to
taking
me.
on a lot of risk this week.
You have to. You
Yeah,
have to
like I
take
said,
on
I
risk.
call it the uncomfortable slate. It's our first uncomfortable slate because of that.
Yeah, and I don't think the answer to this slate is like, like I don't even know what the all comfy clicks would even be because it's a tight price, but like you're kind of forced to go take risks somewhere. So
Yes.
it's just gonna be hard to be right about your entire lineup top to bottom. Someone will do it. But in smaller field stuff, maybe you can get there without
Yeah.
the massive,
So
massive scores.
before I always do like my Wednesday show, I always want to see like where, so I do like the worksheet first, write up all the players, and then I don't want to be like influenced by anything. So I do all that first. And we go on the Wednesday show where it's like the first look at the slate. That's when I run like my first Sims. I don't make any rules. I just want to see like what the projections give us. And the first round gave me Keon Coleman, and I was like, oh, it's
So
one of these weeks. So like, I was like, oh, it's one of these weeks. Like now you start to see like the Sims have like started to adjust up, but like now you start to see guys like Jerry Judy popping in. It's just
yeah,
like, all right,
yeah,
like this is that kind of slate, man.
it is. It really is. Speaking of Browns at Jets, are you playing Jerry Judy this week?
I'm not, but someone will. I like Mike Leone probably will. Like the projection dudes. I mean, to be fair, like
Shots fired.
he's 30. Listen, I tried last week. No, like
No, I know.
listen, Mike
I know.
Leone's way more money than I'll ever win in DFS because he does shit like play Jerry Judy when
Because
I'm
he
not going
plays
to.
Jerry Judy when you're supposed to play him.
We tried to
Yeah.
sell Jerry Judy a couple weeks ago. I made a lineup with him because someone even tried to
I had a lineup.
someone tried to call us out. I was like, yeah, I'll show you the lineup I played Jerry
I
Judy.
didn't bother. I'm not really on X these days that
No,
much,
I
but
know, but I was
I
like,
did
oh,
have a Judy lineup.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't that I
That was
didn't play
also
him.
the
I
week
did
I
play him.
played Troy Franklin a ton. He didn't ask me about that. He only asked for the Judy lineup.
Yeah,
But that's
well,
fair.
it is fair.
But my problem is Jerry Judy has now become a circumference bet on Dylan Gabriel. And
Right.
I that's a hard bet to make. Like I can absolutely be talking to Quinshon Judkins on this slate.
Oh, I'm gonna try to talk you into him.
Oh, yeah, I don't need it. I don't need it. So, but like Dylan Gabriel targeting wide receivers this year has a 42% completion rate.
Come on.
The league average is 64%. The next closest quarterback is Cam Ward. He's 10% higher than Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he also, Gabriel, has targeted wide receivers only on 42.8% of his throws. Only Aaron Rodgers is lower. So not only is he not throwing to wide receivers a lot, when he does throw to them, he's not connecting with them. So
Here's his success rate on the year. He's like way worse. This is Cam Ward, right? This is Russell Wilson. This is Jake
I
Browning.
love when you can diagnose the names because sometimes you'll get a cluster and you're like, all right, well, where's the guy I'm looking for? You're like, no, it's so definitive. He's in his own area. He's on an island.
Like this chart would end here. Like this would just be a tighter chart
Yes.
if not for this dot. Like it's crazy. His success
He's the
rate's been
Bermuda
so
Triangle.
bad.
He's the literal Bermuda Triangle. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, so I mean it's pretty bad. Stefanski just handed off play calling duties to Tommy Rees, which I think tells you something that like normally if you're the play caller head coach, you just change your quarterback. So I do think it tells you they don't want to play Sanders. But we're headed there anyway. I think given how bad
There's no
Gabriel's
way
been.
there's no way we don't see him eventually.
We'll see him eventually. We'll see him in like week 17 and 18 when the season's completely ended. But I think they just don't want to like have
They don't want to deal
eyeballs
with
on him.
everything.
They
I
don't
don't
want to
even
deal
want
with
to
it.
deal with anything like either. Like it's just not
Yeah,
worth the squeeze right now.
it's not. So with
But this is
Reese
a game
coming
where how
in,
many dropbacks are they going to have this game?
exactly. And the Jets have been terrible against the pass, but they've been decent against the run. However,
Yes. However,
Quinnen Williams, fifth most defensive snaps of any Jet this year. He was defensive tackle 17 in pass rush win rate. He's been a really good pass rusher over his career. Not amazing this year, but still good. But defensive tackle 2 in run stop win rate and defensive tackle 1 in the league in PFF's run defense grades. So this dude was a legit run stuffer. Now on the Cowboys. Sauce Gardner gone. That'll obviously hurt more in pass coverage than in run defense, but he was cornerback 4 in run defense grade. Pretty good in the run game. Andre Cisco, safety. He's on injured reserve now. He was one of the best run defenders on the back end, along with Gardner. So both of those guys are gone. They benched Quincy Williams, which probably doesn't matter, but you trade his brother and then bench him. And why didn't you just trade him too? It's weird. It just seems like a defense, like they just stripped this defense down. Like I can't imagine what it's like to be left in the Jets defensive room.
Oh, Breece Hall's tweeting through it.
Yeah, Breece Hall.
Imagine being Breece Hall and knowing the Chiefs offered that trade and they turned it down. Like you'd rather just not know, right? Like it's just like
like Breece Hall is like he's like in the shower, not thinking about it, and it just like hits me, just like fuck. Like it's just like one of those. Like,
oh, dude, he probably thinks about it every hour.
It pops into his brain uninvited. He's like, I could be on the fucking Chiefs.
Dude, he's gonna think about it during this game in the second quarter when it's like they probably have like 14 yards of offense on their first 3 drives.
Oh,
like,
dude. So I'm like such a big Breece Hall fan, and writing this up, I was like, nope. This is how I felt writing them up heading into that Broncos game. Like this is like you just don't touch the Jets. Just don't touch the Jets. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be real bad.
Yeah, with Quinnen Williams off the field this year, they faced 68 running back runs. They've allowed 5.2 yards per carry, which would be 30th in the NFL, and 1.5 yards before contact per rush. Again, that's just a small sample. So I fleshed this thing out for the last 3 years without Quinnen Williams. They faced 400 running back runs with him off the field. So we have a 400 running back run sample against him. They're 29th in yards per carry allowed to running backs and 28th in success rate against those runs. So pretty big deal. He's not playing in this game. Also for Quinshon Judkins, like he's the prototypical dude. Like if they're playing him with a lead, he's on the field getting all the touches. He's played 62% of the offensive snaps when the Browns are tied with the lead. He has 80% of the backfield touches. And he's played 40% of this is since he came back, 40% of the snaps with them trailing and only 60% of the backfield touches. Like he's going to be the offense. He practiced in full all week out of the bye. Like there was nothing with his shoulder. He's going to get the ball a ton.
You know what I thought was interesting was when he got hurt against the Patriots, Jerome Ford did not see his snap share increase really at all. And Dylan Sampson came in and had 46% snaps. He'd been at 16% and 18% the weeks before. So it feels to me like maybe Sampson is just kind of your backup Judkins in a way, and Jerome Ford's just going to do his
thing,
quarter of the snaps type of role. He had 0% of the attempts against the Patriots, 3% against the Dolphins. I've view that as like additionally an additional bull signal for Judkins, where it's like he just doesn't have any competition. You know, his competition is like a third down back who doesn't get carries. He's going to get all the carries. 76% of the carries against the Dolphins, 71% against the Steelers, and that's total team attempts. So, you know, includes scrambles and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to get fed. And Tommy Rees taking over as play caller. I've been thinking like, you know, this is narrative street stuff, but okay, you're Tommy Rees and you're looking at the recent game plans. You get a 79% pass rate against the Steelers, 74% against the Patriots, or you get 52% pass rate against the Vikings, 48% against the Dolphins. I know which camp I would want to be in as a first-time play caller in the NFL with Dylan Gabriel as my quarterback going against an absolutely atrocious Jets defense with an offense, by the way, that's going to just run the ball. Even if it means they score 3 points in this game, they're going to run the ball nonstop. So, I mean,
they do have a competitive advantage. They do have a competitive advantage this week because they have not announced the quarterback again. Thanks, Aaron Glenn.
I made a rule that was a little too lenient that Aaron Glenn was allowed to play games with the quarterback as long as he had one win. And so I said, this is allowed.
Yeah.
You're allowed not to tell us who the star. I'm annoyed. It made the write-up harder. But yeah. I might institute a 2-win rule if they lose this game though. Yeah, I mean the Jets side,
This
like
guy.
it's not so the Browns pass defense and pass rush gets the publicity because they're awesome and Myles Garrett's amazing. But Browns are first in DVOA against the run, second in EPA against the run, first in success rate against the run. And guess what the Jets are going to do? They're going to run the ball nonstop. This is going to be, I mean, they have to.
Well,
You
and
know,
they have
they
to
have to.
because you're going to throw Justin Fields to the wolves of this. I assume doesn't. I
I'm
don't
assuming
know.
Fields
I'm
too.
sorry, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. It's going to be Justin Fields, but
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we've lived the Justin Fields under pressure scenario our whole lives. Like,
It's also Taylor. Taylor has the slowest time to
yeah.
throw in the league.
And
He's
this pass
taking
rush
a
is
longer
getting
time than
there,
Fields.
man.
It's getting there, dude. Yeah. You have to get the ball like quick. Drake May succeeded against them a little bit by just like taking a bunch of sacks and then killing them when he wasn't sacked. So
But
it
there's no
can be
one. They're
done,
not doing that.
but they're not Drake May, man. This is not Drake May. They're just gonna get sacked. And then like, what about the killing them when you don't get sacked part? Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. I just got sacked 8 times. So yeah, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be really rough.
Yeah, if there's any case to be made for Breece Hall, if his heart's in it, is that the Browns have been a lot worse on outside zone, and especially against guys that are a little explosive. Like they're only running backs that have had success against them because they go to 18th in the league, which is again just like lesser of evils. But middle of the pack against outside zone, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devin Achane, and Travion Henderson are the guys like the archetype of backs that have had good games against them. And when I say good games, like 91, 82, and 75 yards. You're not even smashing anything, but
Patriots are doing a lot of like pitch out stuff. Like they were like, you know, like tosses.
The Hall is 45% outside zone rate. So like that's what they do. So maybe there's like an opportunity. That would be the only like say the glimmer of sunshine through the rain cloud. But it's still a stretch because the offense we're just not expecting to be good. And like, so what kind of ceiling are you getting?
Also, this feels like the sunshine like after a hurricane. Like after like your house has been destroyed. You're like, oh, the sun's peeking through it. Like,
Well, you also too, like we don't know, like when this stuff happens, like how the locker room. These dudes are human beings. Like we don't know how they're going to respond. Like
I have a guess.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, we saw last year. Do you remember last year when Salah got fired? Like they just shut it down. That team was trash after Salah got fired.
I think what Glenn's doing, like, is it feels like you're trying to have a team quit on you. Like you're trading your best guys. You're literally benching one of those guys' brother.
And don't forget the week before
I don't understand that.
They traded their other starting cornerback the week before to the Eagles.
Yeah, I've forgotten that.
Michael Carter.
Although Michael Carter's not, I mean, he's, you know, kind of whatever, but
yeah. But he was still like they're playing basically three cornerbacks that weren't starters this year to start the year.
Yeah, and Azaria Thomas has not been good, and he's going to have a big role now. Yeah. So
play Jerry Jeudy. I mean, it's gonna happen, right? Like he's out there running around, but
oh god.
But he is in that mix of dirty dudes that are like, hey,
he's in the mix.
You need under 4K, dude. Right, he's 3'9". He's 3'9".
Oh god damn it! God damn it!
He's on the field for 90% of the dropbacks at 3'9".
Listen, there's other options.
There are other options.
I don't think we have to do it.
We don't. I was just saying he's going to be like that pocket of dudes because he's going to pop in some sim stuff because it's just the projection the median will always be like, well, this dude's out here. Like,
well, you know who might pop is Njoku if Fannin is dealing with this hammy. I think he was at practice today and see if he was.
He was. They called him limited, so he's questionable.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. If he's out, then yeah, he'd have to be out. But Njoku would be like at 3,200, legitimately interesting here, as a way to bet on this matchup.
100%. Yeah, if you get a guy out.
I was like really there was that pause and I was worried I was going to be solo touting Njoku, and I was just really thankful you said 100%.
No, yeah, if he's out, the bummer for Njoku is like clearly like where Gabriel's strengths are like that's just like where Fannin wins. So like
yeah,
Fannin's been like really good even playing alongside Njoku. Now they still get in the way of each other, but like I think he's outscored Njoku I think in like 3 of the 4 games that they've played together.
He's running more routes now.
Yeah,
he's the starter, I would say.
It makes sense, like where he wins, though. Like Gabriel's, like he's the one functional dude for Gabriel.
Right. But Njoku can do that stuff.
Yeah, he
That's
can.
been the
But
frustrating part
Fannon's
for
doing it.
Njoku. Fannon's
Yeah.
doing it instead, and he's doing it really well.
Mhm.
And he's their long-term answer at tight end now. So, it makes sense. But
Shout out to Njoku who did an escape room before me. He was in a group his rookie year.
he what?
Yeah, for my birthday, like this is when they were rookies. We did an escape room in Cleveland, and it was the same time Browns rookie camp was going on. So it was like him, Jabril Peppers, and all that thing. And like we're in there, we go to check in to go do our thing, and like there's just like this just huge dude in front of me. I'm just like looking at him. I'm like, gosh, there's like no way this is like a really dude. And like my buddy's like, dude, that's David Njoku. And I was like, oh yeah, just shot him out and talked to him and stuff. Yeah, and then like so they didn't get out though. They didn't get out of the escape room.
Oh.
So anytime like Njoku messes something up, my buddy's like, we knew it then. Like if he has like a false start or something, like a drop shot, he's like, dude, couldn't get out of the escape room. They didn't get out of the escape room. Like, like
I bet Harold Fannin would get out of the escape room.
yeah, I see. I agree. I think he would.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
shout out to Njoku because like that dude is like literally on fire. He set himself on fire last year on
Yeah.
accident. Like played like he was super happy he didn't get traded. He's like the first player who's ever happy not to get traded out of Cleveland. Like
I know. It was interesting. He was like psyched not to get traded. I mean, that tells you something about their culture, right? That's better culture
I mean,
than the guy who's like literally like, I can't believe I wasn't traded. This is ruining my life.
I try to sell people all the time. It's actually a pretty decent place to live because it's super cheap.
Okay.
So
Well, that
Njoku's
shouldn't be why Njoku. I mean, Njoku has been paid pretty well, actually.
Yeah,
A pretty good contract.
well, maybe he's just fiscally responsible. You know, but he couldn't get out of escape room, so maybe not. Maybe that doesn't track. Like, track. Like we got a lot of layers, a lot of things to unpack here.
Yeah. Yeah, who's to say? All right, let's move to the next game here. I mean, we didn't really talk about the Jets passing game, but I just don't. I think the answer is no.
Yeah,
Even
if you have Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, you're probably playing season.
You're probably starting him. You're probably starting him.
You hope for the best.
And I have him ranked like reasonably normally. Like I have Wilson as I have him tiered as a wide receiver 2, but I have him wide receiver 13 in the ranks, which I wish he could be lower, but there's guys on by.
Yeah, it is a tougher receiver week this week.
I have Breece as a running back 2, and he's running back 14. So kind of similar. You probably boxed into playing them.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not a lot of ceiling here. I don't think.
No, the ceiling is just not
based
really
on based on the quarterback.
Speaking of a lack of ceiling, we have a Davis Mills offense up next. Do you want to try to sell me on this naked Davis?
Well, not. Yeah, my thing was he's min priced, and the Jaguars are a little bit of a pass funnel because they're pretty good against the run, and they have a lot of top 10 quarterback in 4 straight games, and one of them was Geno Smith, who I swear to God has been one of the worst quarterbacks I've watched this year play, and was again on Thursday.
I just watched all of that. In Prime Vision, they should have stopped the Prime Vision on the Raiders. They're like, this is
this is dirty.
We're not allowed to.
Listen, Bo Nix was certifiably bad too, but Geno Smith was like I couldn't like. So that's it. I ran down the case of like
I when I saw Pickett warming up, I was like, do it. I want to see Kenny Pickett, and I'm probably one of the biggest Kenny Pickett haters out there. Yeah. I literally, when I saw him, I was like, yes, I want Pickett. Give me Pickett.
The Jaguars have tanked defensively. They're 28th in EPA over the past month as a defense because they're not getting all those turnovers they got to open the year. Since week 5, they have the lowest sack rate in the NFL. Like they're not getting nearly the pressure they were early in the season. So just bad pass defense that's pretty good against the run. Min price quarterback allows me to get Rico Dowdle, Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey all in one lineup. That was my only sell. Was like you just need him to beat his salary. So like if he got 16 fantasy points, you'd be like, this makes my lineup a lot better. Which I think he's capable of in this matchup, getting like 16 fantasy points. But I do like the adjacent McCarthy shout as well for the same purposes.
Yeah, and I actually do think that if you're like, hey, let me get 16 fantasy points. That makes, things go for me in the lineup. I'm hoping that he kind of like is Spencer Rattlery, this year, which I mean is a compliment in this case where it's like the wheels aren't falling off, even if he's not good. I do feel obligated to mention nugget from the walkthrough. Among quarterbacks with 500 plus plays since 2021, when he came into the league. only Zach Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Will Levis rank worse in success rate. Only Zach Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Spencer Rattler, Will Levis, Sam Howell, and Bryce Young, which is not a great sign for Bryce Young, rank worse in EPA per game. Here's the chart with him here. You see Cooper Rush here. Anthony Richardson is above him in both success rate and EPA per game.
Do you remember 2 years ago when Stroud missed? They didn't even let Davis Mills play. They played Case Keenum.
I forgot that. God.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember that happened?
I mean, look at Zach Wilson down here alone. This is rough, man. This is like there's some backup quarterbacks we got going this week.
The 2025 Geno Smith threw 4 touchdowns against the Jaguars.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it was just Brock Bowers and not Geno Smith. Maybe it was
it was probably Brock Bowers.
It was just Brock Bowers.
You do have Nico Collins back here. So yeah, I mean, and the Jags really have been a pass funnel, as you mentioned, with the good run defense. We saw 71% pass rate from the Raiders against them.
Never gets as fun as potentially Ravens.
Never.
Vikings can.
No, this to me is more Saints Panthers or something. Like it's you're like hoping for a piece or two to do something. The other problem that I do have with this game, even from the Mills side, is that Lawrence could melt down here in a really big way.
Oh God, yeah.
And you have the Texans pass defense, first in DVOA, first in EPA, second in success rate against the pass. And Lawrence, it looked like, okay, maybe this offensive line is pretty solid. No, they just had a really easy schedule to start.
Yep.
It's not terrible, but you can definitely pressure Lawrence. And he's just been bad this year, man. That's the biggest thing. Like quarterback 25 in EPA per game and quarterback 32 in success rate, and now gets the number 1 defense in DVOA and EPA. Like it's just rough. They're also probably without their left guard here. He's been back-to-back DNP. You've got multiple pass rushers like this. Like Rankins has been solid. Will Anderson's awesome. Daniil Hunter's awesome. So it's just a really, really tough matchup. They'll probably try to pivot to the run here. The run defense isn't as good for the Texans. It's more middling. It's not bad, but it's not fearsome the way the pass defense is. And so ETN's, I think, kind of interesting here. But this game really, like last night's game, might kind of feel like this. Like it's like that sloggy where there's like 10 minutes left in the third quarter and it feels like next field goal wins.
Well, the first time these teams played, it was like that.
Yeah. And I mean, this is just, I don't know. I don't have much faith in Lawrence. And by the way, I mean, Hunter and Thomas are out, and you got Jacoby Myers on a short week, and you got like De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington is probably the guys running the most routes. Like it's just even Brenton Strange being out is a problem.
Yeah, it's all bad.
It's all bad. So this game environment is just
bad. Yeah, it seems terrible. Yeah, and like your season-long stuff, you're still playing Nico, but I couldn't even like talk myself into doing like a Nico stack because like he's not offering like any real ceiling, and his price hasn't like super adjusted. It's gone down a little bit, but it's not
still pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's not to the point where like he's still priced in a zone where I'm like, well, I'd just rather play these other guys if I'm paying like this in this ballpark for like I'd rather play Jalen Waddle than Nico Collins pretty wholeheartedly.
The one piece that I do kind of like is ETN, but I should say that's from the perspective of I'm normally lower than consensus on ETN because he's so dependent on the breakaway yards, success rate's poor, and I like Bashal Tutin and want to see him get more run. But coming out of the bye, Tutin was just 25% of snaps, kind of same old there. ETN had a 52% carry share.
He got the goal. He pilfered that goal line touch, which has been a problem sometimes for ETN is because
kind of rotating him around.
He hasn't scored on the ground since week 4. And his touchdowns this season, rushing touchdowns, are from 10 and 48 yards. And one of them, the Texans allowed him to score in the first game.
Oh, right.
So they let him score to get the ball back. So yeah, you're right. It's just a tough spot. Season long stuff you're playing probably most of these regular dudes. Like even Dalton Schultz is like streamable in this game if you had like a Jake Ferguson on bye.
I don't want to play him a DFS though.
A Kelsey. No. Like I said, I would
At his
my
salary, he's I would say like it's fine, but I
Mhm.
don't think I'm doing it.
No, yeah, I'd agree. I'd rather play like Juwan Johnson.
Me too.
Yeah, than at that in that price range than there. So most of these guys you're probably sticking with. I'd still be concerned about Parker Washington here. I know, like if you're going, people are going back to. I mean, he had 11 targets in the first time these teams played, and only had 4 catches for 34 yards. Like this is just too good of a defense, man.
So you mentioned the Davis Mills thing. What about Shuck? He's 4,300 too.
I have no faith in him getting 16 points though.
Okay.
But see that, so the thing is none of those teams allowed 4 passing touchdowns to 2025 Geno Smith.
That's okay. All right. Fair. That's very fair. Yeah. God, Mills. I'm just like
No,
Mills.
like I said,
Mills
yeah,
bad.
I get it.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Oh, you're
my
not wrong. You're not wrong about it either.
yeah. And Chuck could be anything, even slightly
Could be
better than
both.
Davis Mills.
Could be a boat.
I don't think he's a boat.
But
All right, let's
it is.
get
It's just
to
one of these
oh,
games.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's not. It's just not flattering. All around.
No, I'm almost shocked that's not in the late window. Like they normally make us sit through
Just
one of
trying to
these
bury
awful
it.
late. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Well,
I'm glad it's
they put
buried
the
on the one.
Jaguars in the late window last week, and they're like, we can't do it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'm really happy that it's the seventh game on the early slate. We can just ignore it. Cardinals and Seahawks. Another game with a terrifying defense and sort of a backup quarterback. Maybe now the starter. Certainly the starter for the next 4 weeks and maybe going forward. But one where I'm a little less concerned. Jacoby Brissett. I think, like I'm looking at his numbers, he's got the same career efficiency as Daniel Jones, basically in terms of EPA per game. He's been okay. He's not been great, but he's been solid to where you could see him doing what he's done so far for the rest of the year. He's 61st percentile, 49th, and 69th in EPA per play in his 3 games this year. And this is a really tough matchup, but you're like hoping that the wheels don't fall off. You don't need him to be great. Like just keep the Cardinals semi-functional here, and then all of a sudden the Seahawks side becomes more interesting because the Seahawks, the passing side is quite intriguing. Squirrel Patrol mentioned Sam Darnold as one of his plays this week, and I'm kind of into it because it's not someone who was really on my radar from a DFS perspective, but I think it's a really interesting call. You're looking at a really banged up Cardinals defense. They're going to be out Will Johnson and Max Melton.
Well, Will Johnson didn't play in the first game either.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Melton's in the concussion protocol. Johnson limited with back injury on Wednesday and then downgraded to be DNP on Thursday. So uncertain if these guys are actually out, but it looks like they probably will be. Cardinals have not been good at protecting the splash zone, and JSN leads all wide receivers in splash zone target rate. And I was just noting in the walkthrough, like this is, I mean, you want a guy to like be consistently hitting 4+ yards per out run week after week. Like this is a big part of it. It's a big part of what Tyreek Hill was doing, where you get the ball over the deep middle of the field and you're getting a ton of yak. He's got 4.41 yards per route run this year, and it's week 10. It's really crazy.
He's the most through since we have the data at this point of a season. He's number one. Yeah. The only player that's even come close to 4 yards per out run is 2023 Tyreek.
3.72, including the playoffs that year.
Yeah, he averages 6.4 yards per out run on play action. He averages 4.1 yards on pre-snap motion. And even if you remove all the pre-snap motion and all the play action, he averages 4.9 yards per out run without any of the stuff. The base rate for wide receivers on that is 1.3 yards per out run. So like that's crazy. I mean, to be fair though, this was the one matchup that kind of gave them trouble. And this is so that's what I find interesting about the Darnold stuff. So like Darnold's been like pretty clear cut, like when he's gonna be good and bad, or like not for fantasy football. Since these teams last met, I mean, his spike weeks have come against The Buccaneers, the Jaguars, and the Commanders, all teams that struggle against play action passing and did come into that matchup. I've got receipts on all of these worksheet write-ups for this. The Cardinals are actually the opposite of this. On play action passes, they're second in the NFL in completion rate allowed. They're fourth in yards per pass attempt. When these teams met in week 4, Darnold was 2 of 7 on play action passes. On throws 10 or more yards downfield, the Arizona Cardinals are 5th in completion rate. They've allowed a 1% touchdown rate, the league by far the lowest in the NFL. So I'm very curious because they get usually Darnold spots have like been pretty clear cut. Like all his spike weeks come in very obvious matchups, and this really isn't one. And it's a divisional rematch. Jonathan Gannon's whole gambit is to not give up big plays. It's like his whole like antithesis of like all defensive philosophy. So that's why I don't think it structurally fits like where Darnold typically would spike. So that's what's interesting. So that's why I think that
Cardinals have the lowest play action rate run against them actually.
Because you can't. They just play shell. They just play coverage. It's like what?
That's a really interesting note.
Yeah, it's all Jonathan Gannon does, man.
Well, now I'm less interested in the passing game, and it's fragile because I mean JSN's obviously a smash, but Darnold, and it's like you need the Cardinals to be able to push back a little bit here, and then even if they do push back, the Seahawks are kind of playing a different brand of football than everybody else. They're just running the ball, man. They're running the ball nonstop. They have a 53% pass rate, 3% lower than the second place Lions at 56%.
They're second in the league in success rate passing and 25th in success rate rushing.
It's really crazy. I mean, but it is kind of working.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Well, they're not going to break tendency because it is working. Like,
yeah.
But we've seen it though. A couple weeks ago, like when they faced the Texans, like a capable defense, like that's where it doesn't spike and doesn't necessarily hit. When they faced the Cardinals, it didn't hit. When they faced the 49ers, so it's like, well, now when they probably rematch the 49ers, it'll be different, but with the healthy version,
well,
49ers, they have no guys left, but
yeah.
So I'm a little more interested because like I've like pretty felt like I've been pretty on like just calling Darnold out. Like this is clear cut, like smash Darnold. Like this is a trust week for him. This week I was a little more like, I kind of would rather use him as a QB2.
Okay.
But I mean, if he can hit, the wild card here will be the Brissett stuff, right? Because I just don't know how much success they'll have.
Yeah, and it's tough because I think the Seahawks defense is for real.
Yeah, it is, man.
And I think the Brissett, like if you look at him this year, he looks like a little bit. I don't know if I'd call him like a negative regression candidate from what like his success rate and efficiency are kind of aligned. Like it's not like he's like doing stuff where you're like, man, he's really inconsistent and hitting big plays, and that's going to regress. But I do think he's a little bit of a negative regression candidate from the perspective of his career numbers are not as good as what he's done over the last 3 weeks. And this is a player we kind of know who he is to some degree. So
remember when Andy Dalton took over last year for a stretch and people were like, yes, this is exciting. And then it was like after 4 weeks of Andy Dalton, we are like, I don't know, man.
Or like a couple games of Mariota and you're like, oh yeah, he runs, like he's kind of fun. And then it stops being fun. It feels like that is probably the most likely scenario. On the other hand, like he's executing the offense. They have weapons. Yeah, no, yeah. It's probably gonna be bad, but I kind of came away. I wrote this up where I was like, I'm assuming I'm gonna, my initial look into this, I'm like, this is bad for Brissett, and then the more I dug into it, I was like, I don't think this is that bad for him. It's definitely scary, and the floor is really low, but I'm not sure. Like the most likely scenario is he just craters. I think the most likely scenario is he struggles compared to where he's been.
Yeah, we would be probably more scared that Kyler implodes.
Yeah, I honestly would be. I would be. Yeah, I think Brissett will be like, okay, can he? Sure, they don't win the game and he doesn't look great, but like, can they score like 17 points and get either Harrison or McBride a touchdown? Like, yeah, I think he can. That's kind of what I'm expecting. I don't know that that's enough to push Seattle. They're so committed to the run. You need efficiency on the Seattle side. So the play action notes are really interesting because if the efficiency is down now, Darnold did have a 91st percentile mark in EPA per play against the Cardinals.
Yeah, he had a high Y yards per pass attempt still.
Yeah, so he was still
But it was like
part of
we
the
talked
game.
about, like with Lamar, like the splash plays, they still hit a few. Remember they got the ball back and he hit the JSN. That was the game. JSN had no targets at halftime in that
Oh,
game.
right. Yeah.
Remember he had like 3 runs and no targets. We're like, what is happening? Like, what is going on here? And then
And he finished fine, right?
and he said 80 yards in the second half.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
he had finished with 7. It's the only game where he has 96 or more yards in every game but this one, but then
5 for
literally
79, yeah.
had 79 in one half. I think he only had 6 targets the whole game because he had 0 at halftime. But then they found a way to get him the football. Also, the addition of Rashid Shaheed is probably a pretty big plus for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think so.
I compared sort of, it's like not a perfect comp, but I was just noting Tyreek Hill's efficiency. This is like the last time we've seen anything close to this. And we're seeing that same splash zone usage. Now, JSN is a little bit of a different player than Hill, obviously, but I was like, Shaheed, maybe his Waddle? Is that where we're headed? Where he's, also getting some of these same types of targets? Because Shaheed's route
Yeah.
tree is not just like nines. Like
Yeah,
he actually
correct.
runs the real routes now.
He's a
So
good receiver, like a good actual wide
yeah,
receiver.
he's a real receiver. So it could be like Hill was just fine with Waddle, kind of playing Robin. I don't think it's the worst thing. I mean, honestly, it would be an awesome thing if they just passed more. Like if
It would
this
be
gave them
great.
confidence to pass more. Like, hey, you know what? Your passing game is like kind of unstoppable now. Now that Shaheed's up to speed and he's also producing really efficiently. Like, could you maybe fucking pass it, or at least pick a running
Please.
back? I'm not mad. Don't put it in the paper. I'm mad.
Yeah. But I think it's gonna be a pro for JSN big picture. And granted, yes, he's gonna share some targets and air yards. Like because he's got a player that's gonna command air yards. Like he had 52%. He's at 52%. Like he can give away some. Like,
Yeah,
some,
yeah.
it's like he has
Are you
room.
suggesting target share philanthropy?
Yeah.
He needs to give back to his
Yeah, he needs to
community.
give back. Give back.
He's donating to AJ Barner.
And although the Cardinals haven't given up like a ton of big plays, they haven't been unbeatable like in terms of giving up yardage. Like they gave 100 yards to Calvin Ridley. They gave 100 yards to Ricky Pearsall. They gave 100 yards to Tedero McMillan. So like, yeah.
Yep.
I'm more confident in the Seattle side than in the Arizona side, but that's
I'm
just because
confident in them to score points for sure. I just
that's more respect for the Seattle defense, but I do think that the floor is actually higher with Brissett than like scoring 0. Just because of functionally what he allows them to do, play under center, the play action game. And Mike McDonald typically has not cared about letting Trey McBride do his thing. And I kind of respect it. Like, because like McBride's one of these guys, like you can let catch a bunch of passes, but he needs like a lot of targets to go nuts. And like it's kind of like almost like letting a running back go off a little bit in a sense. You're like, we don't give up a bunch of 8-yard catches to Trey McBride, but I'm not going to give up a big play to someone else. Because in these games against Mike McDonald's defense, he has 14 targets, 15 targets, 14 targets, and 11 targets. And Mike McDonald's won all those games. He's like, cool, man. Like, and this is the difference, I think, McBride and like a big picture, like dynasty stance versus like Bowers is like Bowers is a dude that like put real crooked numbers up like on a low volume, whereas like it's still like McBride
Bowers
always
has
has
more of
to
that
have
Tucker
this.
Craft where like
Yeah,
you give him the ball and it's like, oh, actually, I shouldn't be letting this guy get targeted underneath because he's running 40 yards downfield now.
correct.
But
I think some defenses like choose lesser evils. They're like, you know what, like, yeah, man, like I'm not going to devote a bunch of resources to a guy that's going to catch a bunch of 8-yard passes. Like it's why Jake Ferguson was catching all his passes early in the season with the Cowboys. Teams were like, you know what, he's getting 6.5 yards per catch, man. Like what do you want us to do about that? Like we're trying to stop George Pickens, man. And like, granted, like Arizona doesn't have like a super dude, like Marvin Harrison hasn't gone to that stratosphere yet. But like, I'm just saying the way Mike McDonald has typically played these games is like, he's kind of let McBride do his thing. Like,
how
all
did
right,
the Cardinals
man.
not trade for Rashid Shaheed? They need him so bad.
I mean, there's a lot of teams like that. You're like, why wasn't the fit for this if this was the asking price, right?
Right. The Patriots could have used him.
But I would be nervous going
Speed,
back to
man.
Marv here. But McBride, I'm in on. Like, you do the stuff with
Well,
McBride.
McBride really separates from the rest of the tight ends on the slate.
Absolutely. Plus, because he's the dude that's gotten the bump from Brissett because of the play action stuff. So even pre-Brissett change, he was leading all tight ends in target share and play action passes. The problem was the Cardinals weren't running a lot of play action because their quarterback couldn't take snaps under center because he cannot see over the line of scrimmage. And
Well, he could see, Rich, if he just sat on Bryce Young's shoulders.
yes, but now that they're running a lot more play action, this is where it's kind of like, manifest. So they're running. He's like, now he has a 35% target share on play action passes, number one in the NFL, and they're running more play action. So like,
Yeah.
so it matters more. And you're putting the marriage together. So I think he's good still. Just respect for the Seattle outside defense. Marv, I think season long you're good. He had a touchdown against them in the first game.
I think you're good too.
I'm playing him still there, but like I'm not chasing the Cowboys run out is basically all I'm saying.
For sure. Although I do think like it's one of those things where, Caleb Williams spiking against the Cowboys. It's like, yeah, it's the Cowboys. It's still nice to see. If you flop against the Cowboys, that's bad. So it's nice to see that's in there. It's been a tough start to the career for Marvin Harrison, and him to get that kind of mini breakout was really nice. So yeah, I like him in season long too.
Yeah.
Trey McBride, yeah, I mean, he's someone I'll be playing in DFS. It's just like, could lap the field and could not only lap the field, but like we talked about how hard it's going to be to find like the right pieces. So you got like, good lineup, 0 at tight end type of situation, and potentially a guy that you didn't pay nothing for. You didn't punt with Greg Dulcich. You wasted like $4,300, and with 6,000, I lapped you with Trey McBride. That seems pretty plausible. Kenneth Walker saw his usage spike last week. I know Ben wrote that one up as pretty interesting. That he was, his snaps were up, and
it wasn't the snaps. It was they finally gave him some touches near the end zone.
Some touches, yeah, green zone touches as well. But yeah, 57% of snaps. Charbonnet was down to 35%. I noted that unfortunately he did have minus 15 rush yards over expected and a 30% success rate, which is both horrible numbers.
The same story as always.
Kind of like he sort of flopped, like if this was an audition, if he's installed, great. If this was an audition, I think they might call Zach Charbonnet in for an audition this week. So,
and they ran a tush push with AJ Barner. That better not be a thing. The last thing we want.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's tough, man. I still think this could easily be a split, but what if it's Walker's backfield, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of only 3 running backs who had over 100 total yards against the Cardinals this year. The other 2 are Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. He had a pretty good game against them the first game. If we just needed the high value touches is all it's been missing from him, because we know what kind of runner he is, and they are still running the ball. It's just he went a span from the week Charbonnet came back was week 3 to up until last week. He had no touches inside the 5, no touches inside the 10. So like we need those, like, because no one's catching passes out of his backfield. They're not throwing to running backs. So like they're the only high value
really Walker's thing anyway.
Right. The only high value touches we get are the scoring opportunities, and they were all going to Charbonnet. So we just need those. And those are tough to guess until it becomes like a consistent trend. It could, like you said, it could have been a one-off. It's hard to say, right? Like, but it was out of the bye, so you're like kind of like, all right. Well,
I think it was real. Like I think they were like I think it was a signal in the sense that they were like, hey, let's put more on Kenneth Walker's plate. I do also think their signal in that he like sucked. It's like, hey, you know what? Looking at the tape, I think we should give Kenneth Walker more run. Then you do, and you're like, oof, that could change your usage the following week.
Yeah,
but it also could be that Charbonnet has been, I've been negative about Walker, but Charbonnet is running back 42 in rush yards over expected per game. He has a 43% success rate, which is running back 14. That's quite a bit better than Walker's at 38%, running back 35. But Walker is running back 15 in breakaway yards per game. He breaks a lot more tackles. He can actually hit long runs. So it's like, if I were the Seahawks, I'd be like, hey, we've got 2 options. We can basically like have a fullback who never has any explosiveness, but will like pick up, the yards we expect most of the time. And we have this other guy, super boom bust, but will hit long runs. Let's just like eat our vegetables with or just like take our lumps, I guess is really what it is, because these aren't vegetables. They're not good for you. But take
Yeah.
our lumps with Kenneth Walker with the negative runs, because he's going to pop some, and we're built to run the ball. We're going to run the ball all day. So eventually we're going to get those long runs. And then for short yardage and goal line, let's put in Zach. Like, this seems like that should be easy enough, but I don't know. That's not how they're playing it. If anything, now they're starting to give Walker some of the goal line stuff, which is good for us if we're playing Walker, but I don't really understand the usage.
No, it's in tough. Charbonnet has 2 runs of 10 or more yards on 80 carries this year.
Wait, say that again?
He has 2 runs of 10 or more yards on 80 rushes.
God. Oh, that hurt my head.
Yeah. It's not great.
I'm like instantly feel hungover.
I mean, good. The Seahawks should feel hungover. Like, outside of him falling
Maybe
into
that's
the end
problem.
zone. Yeah.
Maybe they're not thinking straight.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what's going on.
Walker just comes in and like turns on the lights and like, get out of here. Get out. God.
Yeah, and then this is a spot I'm not going to chase really much from Monday night's rotation with the Arizona backfield either. So
yeah,
it's tough. They were kind of alternating drives for a while. DeMarcado had like a hot
looked
run.
okay.
He looked fine. But again, like he had a little run out against the Cowboys. Like, are we going to expect him to run on the Seahawks here? Like, this has largely been a team that's been bad at running all year. Again, no matter who the running back is. Before James Conner got hurt, James Conner was bad. And then we only had one sample with Trey Benson, and then it's been kind of these whack-a-mole dudes. But they've been pretty consistently bad all year, and they're on the road against the defense that is second in the league in rushing yards per game to running backs. They're 9th in yards allowed before contact, 2nd in yards per carry. Like,
first in EPA, second in DVOA.
It's hard to like talk yourself into.
This is
like
a Denver level defense. Like,
they're just really good, and they're at home. Like Seattle at home. Like, their one bad game at home was the game they were missing all the dudes against the Bucks game that got hot. And they were missing 4 starters.
It's more of a Denver style defense than level. I think Denver's better, but you can't run on them and you can't pass on them. It's a very difficult matchup. I don't have much interest in the Cowboys runners or the Cardinals runners. They're both basically like running back 3 types, running back 4s even. Yeah, I've got them both ranked as running back 4s this week.
Yeah, the only pro case I think you could go back to for Walker is if like you do luck box into those like high value touches being static here and they work out, is that this would be a week like those mid-rangey guys, like there's not a lot of allure, right? And like we know someone's gonna have a good game from there. So maybe you get lucky and it's him. But it's definitely a step of faith though. Like, absolutely.
For sure. All right, let's go Lions Commanders. This is one I would actually put this in the could be fun, fragile but could be fun group, where if we have the teams push each other, this could be good, or maybe we don't even need the Commanders to push too much.
Probably not.
But if they just like don't roll over, which they did last week, but hopefully they don't do it again, then we could have the Lions be pretty fun here. And we have Jared Goff, I think, in a pretty good matchup.
Oh yeah.
The Commanders defense has been very poor, and it's also banged up. You got safety Will Harris and cornerback Marshawn Lattimore on IR. Quan Martin, another safety, was on a DNP with a hamstring on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. We'll see. I'm assuming he probably goes, but with a hammy, you never know. Trey Amos is banged up. He'll play, but this is a kind of, a little bit of a diminished secondary, and one that's been very bad. They're 31st in coverage grade, and they're allowing explosive passes at the highest rate in the league. We are getting the narrative stuff with Jameson Williams. We got to get Jameson going. If you want to get Jameson going, like maybe call plays where he's the first read. Just a thought. They don't seem to be doing that.
Nope.
Penei Sewell was back at practice. He looks like he's going to play. Taylor Decker and him were both DNP limited. Obviously, those are the 2 tackles. You want them to be playing if you're betting on the Lions. They will be down their left guard, Christian Mahogany, and that's a downgrade down to his backup. So as long as those tackles go, though, I think the Lions are set up for a nice bounce back here against a pretty weak defense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this should be a Lions smash spot. I know we didn't get the wagon status last week, but it feels very much wagony this week. This defense is just down so bad. Dorrance Armstrong was put on IR 2 weeks ago for the Commanders. The past 4 weeks, they're 30th in defensive success rate. They're 31st in points allowed per drive. And they're another one of these teams that just really schematically struggle with where the Lions like to operate, right? Like it's, well, first of all, like even last week, kept clean, Jared Goff was 18 to 24, 212 yards, 8.8 yards per pass, and 2 touchdowns. For the season, when he's kept clean, he has 17 touchdowns, 1 interception, 8.6 yards per pass attempt. He 83% completion rate. And over the past 5 weeks, the Commanders have fallen to 21st in pressure rate. They're just ravaged by injuries. Goff runs a ton of play action. On play action, he's 5th in completion rate, 3rd in yards per pass attempt, and that's where the Commanders just absolutely get bludgeoned, is in the play action pass. They also allow 18 passing points per game, which is only better than the Cowboys. They've allowed QB1 scoring weeks to Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, Mahomes, and Dak Prescott, which is a pretty good rogues gallery of dudes they face, but spike weeks to all of them. And the Lions are another one of these teams that are just like really better throwing the football right now. They are right now 31st.
Tell that to John Morton, please.
31st in success rate running the ball. The Detroit Lions compared to 8th in success rate. They have a bunch of interior line injuries. Chris Mahogany's not going to play in this game. Dan Campbell says he's going to basically miss till December.
Yeah.
So
And
they're kind of built to throw.
Decker was DNP, DNP with a shoulder, so he's probably out. Sewell is going to play with full practice, so that's nice. And I think off the injury report now, so that's pretty sweet.
But I am more confident in them passing the ball here than I am them just outright like running the ball.
Darrisaw, by the way, was also full practice today. So
nice.
Yeah, that's big for the Vikings. Yeah, I think I guess my concern, I have more confidence in their ability to throw the ball like by a lot. I don't have confidence in their understanding that the passing game is the engine of the offense.
Agreed.
They have a 56% pass rate, second lowest in the league. They haven't had a positive pass rate or expected in a single game this year. This really feels like a big difference to me compared to where Ben Johnson was. Like you could push the Lions, and last year and the year before, like they would flip a switch and they would pass all over you. Like they'd be like, all right, we're a negative script. This is kind of a shootout type of game, or we need a comeback here. We're not going to win this game unless we start passing. And they would pass aggressively and effectively, and they would win games. Like I've really been rooting for them basically the entire Dan Campbell era. I just think they're really fun. But this is, I'm starting to lose faith a little bit with the John Morton Lions that they play to win. I love, the run heaviness works if you're in spots where you got to throw, you throw. I love that. But they're not really doing that so much. Now, this isn't one of those games. They're just going to be able to play from ahead here, you'd think. But I still don't, the weak spot of the defense is the passing game. So it would make a ton of sense. Like this kind of like, like the elevated run first team, that I thought we had. I think this is just like an old school run first team. Like we run the ball. That's who we are. This is our identity. We're going to bang our heads against the wall if that's what we have to do, but we're going to run the ball. I expect them to have a negative pass rate of expected. I know I'm going out on a limb given that we're looking at 8 of those far and a bye week. So yeah, but I mean, it's a little frustrating where, if they were to attack through the air here, they could kind of nuke this game, score 35, go home. Like you can run all you want in the fourth quarter after you finish putting up all the points, but I don't really trust them to do that under Morton.
Yeah, they did lose to the Commanders in the playoffs last year. I don't know if Dan Campbell holds anything here.
I like that angle
of maybe trying to. They lost last week, plus lost to the Commanders. This is the team that stopped them from going to the Super Bowl. Maybe we can get some motivation.
I would really love if that's how they handled this.
I'm manufacturing that myself internally.
You're firing me up though, and I think I can feel like I'm like putting myself in the Lions meeting room and hearing Dan Campbell's fired up. His nose is like even redder. He's had an extra cup of coffee after what's his normal 6.
I mean, you just never see what happened to them last week, where you had Brian Flores repeatedly doing the same thing over and over and just wrecking Jahmyr Gibbs and like them not calibrating in game, and then Dan Campbell coming out at the front of the week and being like, yeah, we messed up by not like fixing that in game. Like, and we're just not used to that. We're always used to the Lions like adjusting, like you said, adjusting to the game.
Yeah.
And like that, like we've
They're
been
not really
missing that.
doing that as much this year.
Remember it, we started the season that way against the Packers. Like it's like where we've kind of been all year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
And
they
yeah,
were atrocious.
they've always been a team of adjustments, and like, yeah, we've just been missing that aspect this year. Now, again, like they might not have to counterpunch at all this game. It could just be what they want to do works, because the Commanders are just swirling the heart of darkness right now. They've lost by over 20 points 3 games in a row. Like they're like this team is like they're out of players. The vibes are all time bad. Their quarterback's out again. Terry McLaurin's
Yeah.
not playing. Like it's just terrible. Like it's the vibes. The vibes are not good.
The vibes are not good, and you have to think about incentives, right? Motivation of these coaches. What are you playing for? You know, we'd love if all these guys were like trying to maximize win probability in every second of a game, but they just aren't, right? Like you're also thinking about trying not to get yourself embarrassed. And you got Marcus Mariota back there. I could see them being really conservative in this game. I could see the Lions getting ahead and the Commanders running the ball and playing to score a touchdown instead of win. You know, cut the lead to 10. That kind
Like
of
we
vibe.
saw them get blown out by the Cowboys, and they weren't any fun. Like
Minus 5% PROE, minus 12 on first down against the Cowboys. Last week, minus 12% PROE, minus 17% on first down against the Seahawks. Yeah, I mean, they both gave up and left their quarterback in the fourth quarter who suffered a major elbow injury. Like it's the worst of both worlds. Like try to win the game if you're going to leave your starting quarterback in, but I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in Quinn and Kingsbury here to kind of just do what you have to do against the Lions. And what you have to do is throw. Lions 67% pass rate against, 3% PROE against, 3% shift to the pass. The Lions are going to push you. You have to throw. You have to play aggressively. I don't know if the Commanders will.
Yeah, that's and then but everyone here, if you can make a case for any Lion basically. Amon-Ra,
I think you can.
easy. I think it's another Laporta week again.
It's a good
It's funny,
Laporta
he
week.
keeps popping up with different signals, but he's been targeted on 31% of his routes on play action, 3.4 yards per out run. Even removing the play action component here, Washington has just been gouged by tight ends anyways. 30th in touchdown rate and 31st in yards per target against tight ends. So he's on the board again.
This is
Jameson,
much
if you
more of a
want to chase
season-long
it.
play. Jameson, sure. I actually think, yeah, I made fun of the first 3 target rate stuff for Jameson, but I think this could be a spot where, you know, he's getting loose.
Well, this
You
is a
play
spot where
action.
he could actually have 5 targets and still be okay.
Totally.
Like, they've allowed the Commanders allowed 45 receptions to wide receivers and throws 10 or more yards downfield. It's the second most in the NFL. They're allowing 14 yards per catch to wide receivers. Like it's just not a good defense. They're giving up chunk gains.
Yeah.
Which is what we want. We do want the chunk gains.
We do want chunk gains. That's true. Yeah, no, this is like you're betting on probably a couple targets is the way I put it for Jameson Williams, but it's true. Those targets could really go your way. This is more of a season-long take, but
he's pretty cheap on DraftKings.
What is he?
He's in the 4s.
49.
He's 4.9.
I wish he was like 4.3.
Yeah, that's where Slayton is. Slayton is like
yeah. Well, yeah, maybe 4.5 because I would like easily play him over Slayton, but
yeah.
No, he's definitely in play.
I would rank them St. Brown, Laporta, Williams.
That's how I would rank it too.
Yeah.
This is not a DFS play because he's 5K. Although Squirrel Patrol did mention him as viable, but David Montgomery I think sets up reasonably well here. He's been like he had 55% of the carries last week. He was up 41% against the Bucks, and he's been like he has a 1.58 yards per route run this year. He led the league in yards per route run last year. He's been a big part of their play action passing game, in part because he's like kind of the more traditional downhill runner. So he's like on the field for those looks. Probably not in part. That's like the whole reason, I assume. But but he's also, I guess the other part of the reason is that he's a decent pass catcher actually. And so even though Gibbs is a better pass catcher, Montgomery's benefiting from the play action looks, and this could be a spot where we get plenty of play action. And so if Jameson's not getting open on that deep look first read, check it down to David Montgomery, let him run. I think like I've got a league where I'm like, flexing David Montgomery sometimes in a dynasty league, and this will be one of those weeks.
Yeah, this would be like the prototypical Dave Montgomery environment as well. Yeah, and for the people that didn't know what I was talking about, I didn't see earlier about the Gibbs stuff is last week, Brian Flores just sent like a bunch of A-gap pressures at the lines. And what it forced Gibbs to do is stay in pass protect. He pass protect on a career high 15 snaps. He allowed 7 pressures because he's a 200-pound running back blocking Andrew Van Ginkel. No running back has allowed more than 3 pressures in a game this season because you just don't typically have that kind of passing protection volume. And like he just got punished the entire game. Gibbs, though, is having like kind of an off year, though, in general, because the Lions, again, the interior offensive line stuff's been an issue. Out of 44 running backs at 50 or more carries, he's 34th in run of 10 or more yards. And if you remove the offensive line component, yards after contact this year, he's 35th, sandwiched between Alvin Kamara and Woody Marks. Kind of odd. Like we're not getting like something's been off about the run game in general, and just he's been a little bit off himself. We did just come off of a week before the bye where he had 200 yards against the Buccaneers. Like so, you're not like you're not like running from the hill. You're like, oh, what's wrong with him? But like something's just been a little bit off with the run game in general.
Yeah, I would note just to go back to the tackle stuff. They have a reserve tackle who's been solid, and so the fact that they'll have Sewell here is really important. Dan Skipper is their reserve tackle who's been solid. So he'll fill in for Decker, and I don't think
might catch
the
a
offensive
pass.
line is a big issue. Is he catch passes?
Yeah, he's like the dude they throw to. Right?
The guy, okay.
It's like the lineman.
That's
yeah. I will say I got one gross one before we shut this down. This is like I have a punt play in this game.
Good.
And it's Jalen Lane.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so with Luke McCaffrey now out for the year, so we know Chris Moore is the Terry McLaurin fill-in, and McLaurin's already out. He's not playing this game. But Chris Moore just goes out there and exercises. Like he's got a 10% target per out rate, and he's got less than a yard per out run. But basically,
he was not targeted on 80% route participation against the Seahawks.
Yeah, McCaffrey and Jalen Lane were splitting duties. It's like they were kind of like rotating. But with McCaffrey out of the game last week, Jalen Lane was back up to 70%. That's probably where he's going to be. He's not going to be in the, like I said, Chris Moore will be the wide receiver too. But here's the dynamics for here is against man coverage, he's been targeted on 25% of his routes, 3.5 yards per route run. He leads the Commanders in receiving yards against man coverage without Terry McLaurin on the field. We know Lions 4th highest man coverage rate, and like we assume they'll be at least forced to throw at some point, but will they? Like you noted, they might not. Again, this guy could be a 0, but he's another one of these just like punt, like, or in your deeper league, like you're really scouring to fill a spot. Like there might be something here.
Okay. Yes, he's 3,600.
Yeah.
So he's pretty cheap. We did talk about Ray McLeod, so he's like
Ray
a premium.
Listen,
he's almost a premium pick.
You got Ray McLeod, Kyle Williams, and Jalen Lane. This is what this slate is offering you.
He's comfy compared to a couple of those guys. I mean, yeah.
And he was a relatively draft capital guy too. Like the team did at least invest into him.
4th round pick, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, again, this is where we are.
This is where we are. Yeah, but I mean, Deebo Samuel, I wasn't that into. I know he projects pretty well, but
he's clearly still playing injured.
Yeah, he hasn't been efficient, and I just don't trust volume here. So I kind of like the call on Lane a bit more.
You'd rather just outright punt with the dude if you're gonna.
Yeah, I'd rather punt. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. And I'm not gonna play like him exclusively. It's just like, man, I was thinking if I'm gonna do like a Goff, like to be able to fit Goff plus Amon-Ra plus Laporta, like it's like, all right, well, do I bring one of these? Like if I'm just gonna take a cheap dude, like he would be him in the game, and you hope that that's how the way it would run out.
I think it's a week we talked about with things that aren't normally that viable or viable. I think he's definitely included in that. All right, Rams at 49ers. This is the last game here. Let's which side should we start with here? Let's maybe the 49ers side. Get that out of the way.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to start with them? We don't know. Did they announce? I assume it's going to be Mac Jones.
I'm assuming Jones.
Yeah, the way I haven't seen like today's practices, like if because they said they were going to announce on Friday, but the way Shanahan was talking about it yesterday,
and Lynch.
It made it. The vibes were this is going to be Mac Jones, right?
The vibes are Mac Jones. Yeah,
we'll approach it from Mac Jones, and if we need to adjust, so be it. But
yeah, the adjustment I think is that like Purdy is better and he's better under pressure. And
we got to stop the quarterback controversy that's going around.
It's dumb. It's dumb. Look, Mac Jones can be really good when you keep him
He's doing his job.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Brock Purdy's better.
And that's not a negative to say Mac Jones sucks either. It's just that he's doing his job. Suck. This is what he's supposed to be doing right now. And when the other guy comes back, he's going to have the job.
Right, because he's the starting quarterback who's better than the backup.
Yes. I don't know why like we keep like trying to make this something it's like not going to be.
It's not. And like Jones was up against a weak Giants defense that they ran all over. It was perfect, right? You got like you're running the ball almost 60% of the time, 57% of the time I think they ran the ball. And so then you have Mac Jones doing his thing off of that, and he's very effective against a weak defense that's got an okay pass rush, but it's not like unstoppable. And now he gets the Rams pass defense that's third in passing DVOA, second in EPA, third in quick pressure, fourth in pressure rate. I know he was good against them when they played the first time, but I don't love him in the rematch here. I'm worried about the Rams getting pressure. And to me, it's like, hey, keep Mac Jones clean. You're good. If he's pressured, he is not as good as Purdy. This is where I think the two of them really do separate. Where like Purdy will make plays. He can like do some cool stuff under pressure. And Mac Jones is much more of an executor of the Shanahan offense from a clean pocket.
Right. It's what Kyle Shanahan's done with like every moderate pocket passer he's ever had. It's exactly like what
it's Jimmy. It's kind of Jimmy-ish.
Right. Yeah. What happens. I will say though, I am confident not in playing Mac Jones. I'm not going to play Mac Jones, but I am confident. Like these are the games that Kyle Shanahan gets up for, and like these dudes love to try to beat each other. And when these teams played earlier in the year, like it was never more apparent. Remember we were like talking about like, man, they should just rest CMC. Like they were coming to that game without Juwan Jennings. They didn't have Ricky Pearsall. They didn't have George Kittle. It was like, what are they even coming to? They're going to SoFi. Like this is gonna be terrible. Like just punt this week. And Kyle Shanahan's like, oh man, this is like I live for this. Like why? Remember the first drive of the game? They came out and like heavy at the goal line, and then it's like shifted to wide personnel and got Christian McCaffrey at a linebacker. It's like this is like you knew immediately. You're like, oh, Kyle Shanahan's like he's ready to like do Kyle Shanahan shit this game. And that's what these guys at least bring to butt. So in that game, the Rams had their second lowest pressure rate in the season. They had one sack all night in that game. Like this is so like I'm confident in just like this matchup bringing out the best of like these guys want to beat each other and dial stuff up, and that makes me like this game more because typically you would see this divisional rematch, a good defense that the Rams clearly have, and you'd be like, oh, this is going to be like could be kind of a slog, right? And like maybe it does.
That's honestly, yeah. I'm viewing it kind of on paper. Plus, it's going to be on during the Shipcast window, and we've got not a great. Like we just turned the Chiefs Bills into a slog, so like this is no problem for us.
Yeah, but I'm just like these are where these coordinators like they want to outdo each other, man. Like
yeah,
I mean, you look at the Kyle Shanahan's history against the Rams. I mean, 6 yards per play against these guys. Like he wants hey man, I'm the master. Like remember where you came from. Like like.
I brought you into this world. I can take you out.
Yeah, man. Like I love the big vibes, though, man. Like there is like you can't you can't tell me these guys like they get up for this. So
for sure, no, that's a good point.
Like so and they're gonna have Juwan Jennings this game. They're gonna have George Kittle in this game. Now I'm pretty sure George Kittle's still not himself, but he's out there.
The numbers back that up.
He's out there doing stuff. Yeah, like he's not getting open at all. But He still impacts the run game. 49ers have shifted to a lot more like downhill, like power inside zone since Kittle's come back too. Like they're running downhill instead of outside zone stuff, which is what the old Shanahan staple. But it's just me having faith and like they're gonna have some stuff, man. They're gonna have some stuff here.
Yeah. All right. Well, so how are you? Are you? I mean, McCaffrey. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
even I'm worried about Jones. I'm not worried about McCaffrey. McCaffrey is going to get absolutely fed and will be just fine.
dude has
Um,
229 touches.
it's crazy. I mean, he's been
He,
so bad as a runner, and it just doesn't matter.
no, he's taken advantage at least the last couple weeks against matchups he should have. This isn't one of those, but like at least we've seen him against like the Giants and Falcons. You're like, all right, at least now, like moving forward, we might. That's when you really play him in DFS is when you're like, oh, we could get the rushing plus the receiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you get real. That's when you can score 40. That's when he scores 30 plus fantasy points. Like those
Right.
weeks.
Right.
This week could be one of those where he doesn't actually, where like he's just like in the low 20s.
That's kind of what I assume, but also it's like a dangerous bet to make.
He's a tough
he scores
fade.
a couple touchdowns and like
He's a real he especially on this slate with no Jonathan Taylor. Like he's an outright tough fade for sure. But yeah, I mean we know he's gonna get the ball a ton. So yeah, I mean, dude, last week they were up 10 with under 2 minutes to go, and he was still running the ball.
Like Kyle Shanahan cannot help himself.
Cannot, dude.
He's never once helped himself.
And it's the same thing with McVay and Puka. McVay can't help
these guys. They're built the same. They're built the same. If a guy is out there
on a 4th and 1 end around,
yeah, dumb play. Yeah, I mean, like if McCaffrey is available, he's going to play him as much as he can handle. The only thing that could save McCaffrey is if he like stopped being good as a receiver. Like if he wasn't doing well, then it would end. But for as long as he's like the engine of the passing game, which he like clearly is, got 25% target share as a running back, 2.11 yards per route run as a running back. This dude is still awesome as a receiver, and it's very important to the team. So he's going to just get fed. It's going to get fed.
Pretty simple as that.
Jennings, Davis was talking him up as a really underpriced DFS piece. Are you into him?
At its price, yeah, just for the salary and the opportunity he's been getting. I think the matchup presents some negative signals, but it might not matter because they got Kendrick Bourne 140 yards. Like again, like it's just me having faith. Like maybe I just got to throw out some of this stuff. Like right, like because he has like massive splits against man zone. It's why we kind of wanted to play him a little bit last week, and they just didn't have to. He got the touchdown, but they just didn't have to throw.
Right.
Maybe you hear, but yeah, so I mean the Rams don't play any man coverage. They're 14.8% man rate. Jennings at 36% target rate against man coverage, 16% against zone. And maybe that's a Mac Jones thing or a schematic thing. It's tough to say because it wasn't like that under Purdy. It was very balanced last year with Purdy. So it could just be noisy and still relatively small sampley. And like I said, I'm willing to throw it out anyways because the last time these teams played, like Kyle Shanahan got Kendrick Bourne 140 yards. Like he's $4,500. Like he fits. It's a game like I have faith in the offensive system. So sure.
Yeah.
On
the, I mean, well, Kittle is going to get played, and the ceiling is theoretically very high because he is George Kittle. He hasn't shown anything. There's no numbers you can point to. My literal analysis of the walkthrough was it's George Kittle, man.
It's George Kittle.
But that's it. That's all we have to go on. He's showing up as fairly chalky because he's only 4,500. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad play. It's not a bad play. It's George Kittle, but I kind of think maybe it's a decent chalk piece to fade, because all you're kind of betting on is he's still not right, and the numbers, like we talked about, back up that idea.
Yeah, he's second to last in tight end since he came back in the fantasy point separation score stuff. Just not really getting open. We also have kind of an ongoing history now with him and Christian McCaffrey playing. He's not as good for fantasy football. So that small sample that this year is now goes back to previous year iterations of the offense. It's tougher to like calibrate that though, because like they had so many other guys like Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Like it's all kind of different this year. It's like but just 3 games. Like you said, he's 4,500. Like we would expect Kittle to have at least one Kittle type game, but I kind of don't want
and
to,
not necessarily when you project it.
but that's my thing is like I want to play Kittle when like no one is playing Kittle.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to play him when everyone's playing him.
I don't want to play chalk Kittle when. I mean, there's the thing with Kittle is like he is very unpredictable. He's not one of these guys where you're like, oh, it's a Kittle spot. The Kittle spot is just that time he happened to go off.
Yeah,
But when he goes off, he goes off.
because he's a great football player.
He's a great football player. So yeah, I'm with you though. I don't love. It's kind of Derrick Henry ish, where it's like I don't know. It's gonna be whenever he happened to have that crazy ass run, and then he had another crazy ass run, 2 drives later, and now he's a gotta have it piece. But you want that at low ownership generally.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I feel about it. But like I said, 4,500 George Kittle. I get why people are doing it, especially on this slate. I actually kind of am going back to McCaffrey now and thinking like because yeah, I mean in that game that he had 30 touches when they played and 140 yards. He had 27-9 PPR in that game. So like that's still tough to leave. Because I'm like, all right, can we live if he gets like 22 to 25? But that still might matter on the slate.
And you're like going, yeah.
It's just
I like thinking it through, and I'm not sure what the right answer is right now, but it's like it is one of those things where there's just not that many great plays. So if you take kind of the easiest, safest play off of your lineup, then you're going to like even.
No, I mean the next
to yet another low confidence thing.
The next top 5 running backs in cost are like he's 1,000 more than Gibbs, and we kind of walk through that. Like there is some volatility still with Gibbs. He's 1,500 more than James Cook, who might not catch a pass. And then
Cook's a strong play though. I do.
I do think Cook is a good play as well. But again, might not catch a pass.
Achan's quarterback might be throwing 3 interceptions.
And then you have Derrick Henry, Kyron in this game, and then Judkins. It's just not like it's just not a strong like you don't have like you say, you just don't have a lot of conviction in a lot of those other guys. Even though I do like Cook, I like Achan. But from a conviction stance, I'm like, wow, this dude's gonna get 30 touches, like and catch 8 passes.
Yeah, the conviction is fully there.
Yeah, so it's just a real tough fade, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. Rams side, the 49ers, man, they are really banged up. Fred Warner's out. Michael Williams is out now for the year. Bryce Huff might be coming back, which is pretty important.
They got Keon White, and immediately he put on a 49ers uniform and had a hamstring injury.
No. Yeah.
I'm starting to believe the conspiracy theories that the electrical plant or whatever is stealing powers from these guys.
Well, the other theory is that it's that McCaffrey is sort of sucking the life force out of every.
Yeah, he's literally the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Shang Tsung, like just taking all the powers.
Hey man, as long as you keep scoring 25 fantasy points a week.
As someone who ranked Christopher McCaffrey RB1 in the preseason and felt terribly like this could be bad for your boy. We're surviving. We're surviving.
Yeah, so you're for it. I think I might be for it too. We'll see how bad it gets.
Yeah.
I'd like Purdy to be able to come back. That'd be nice.
I do too as well. But this defense is, like you kind of said, they're now 28th in EPA as a pass defense because they're second to last over the past 5 games. Rams lead the league in success rate passing over the past month. And the 49ers allowed 6.1 yards per play over the past 5 games. That's 30th. They were at 4.6 prior, which was 6. Like they just lost all the guys. They just lost all their dudes.
Yeah. Huff has been like a really important piece for them. He's limited with a hamstring. We'll see today. If he came back, that would give them a little bit more pass rush juice, which they could really use. They're 27th in pressure rate, 25th in quick pressure rate. They lost Bosa before the first game, but they had Warner, and I believe they had Huff and Michael Williams.
Yeah, Huff had a sack, and Michael Williams was awesome in that game. The Michael Williams splits, and he's a rookie, but they're like Quinnen Williams-esque. So 49ers have faced 75 backfield runs this year without Michael Williams on the field. 4.7 yards per carry allowed, 53% success rate compared to when he's on the field, 3.8 yards per carry and a 64% success rate against running back runs. So a pretty significant loss too for them in the interior.
If you're right about kind of this being misleading on paper, and it's because of these two coaches, like they're just both going to be throwing everything they have, and this is actually like a sneaky fun game. Isn't Kyron Williams kind of an awesome play then?
Yeah, partially for what I said, but also when the games are competitive, he plays.
Yeah,
He has played 80% of the offensive snaps and 80% of has 80% of the backfield touches when the Rams trail. This happened in the first game that they played. And then that when they're ahead and play like in the positive game script is where you see Corum come in and sprinkle in. But they don't trust Corum when they need to make up points. So this is on the road. So like I think you can make a pretty good case for him. You need the play out though if you're playing him. You need to, I think if you're playing Kyron Williams, you're playing it with 49ers driving the game.
you are. You are. I don't know that you're. I mean, maybe
So you wouldn't be playing him with like the other pieces, probably. Like you could probably always play Puka, but like you aren't adding like you're not doing like a Stafford thing with him. It would
he honestly
be
correlates kind of well with McCaffrey,
yeah. Well, McCaffrey's
in,
just like
in a weird
a
way.
unicorn dude that just
Yeah,
it,
like
it,
everyone correlates well with because
well, yeah, because he's like one of those running backs you can stack with the quarterback. Like
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
rules kind of just like he breaks the
Oh, him and
rules.
Purdy were an awesome stack like
Yeah.
a year or two ago. Um, yeah, so Williams is kind of interesting. I hadn't thought too much about him, and it's like a little fragile because you're betting on like a specific type of game. Like
And he's
if
been
the
pretty good
Rams
this
roll
year.
here, yeah. I mean, the biggest issue has been Corum just taking
More
work,
work.
and especially when they're up a ton. You have to worry about garbage time a little bit.
But he's like he's completely trustworthy. Like he's not Kyron Williams is never gonna be dude. It's gonna like turn in like a Saquon Barkley or he's ripping like 60-yard runs. But I mean, dude, high
You're
success
hoping he's
rate,
Jacobs, Josh
low fail
Jacobs.
rate. Yes, 100%.
49% success rate this year, which is running back 4. So he has been really good. And the other thing with Williams is that there's sort of a difference between like burst and explosiveness in my mind. I think of burst was more of like, you burst through the hole, you get that like 15-yard gain, maybe like 12-yard gain, whatever. And then there's like, are you ripping off 40-yard runs?
Right.
Jonathan Taylor has both, right? But you don't. Kyron Williams does not have both. Kyron Williams is running back 35 in breakaway yards per game, but he's running back 13 in rush yards over expected. So he's kind of adding the consistency, but the consistency isn't. It's not Zach Charbonnet where he's got a 43% success rate, but he doesn't have any burst. It's you get the kind of the first layer of you hit the right hole, you're successful, and the second hey, maybe you pick up 7 yards here, 8 yards here. Honestly, frankly, like Monangai last week, apologies to Monangai for I wasn't familiar with your game, but like dude had a lot of burst. Not much
Yeah.
explosiveness really, but a lot of burst. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of with Kyron. I think, you give him enough carries and he racks up yards and he gets in the end zone, but it's been trickier this year because Corum's been stealing enough work, and you can't be giving up work if you have this type of profile. It really for like RB1 upside. It really, really hurts it. But maybe in this game, they have to lean on him a little bit more. So yeah, he's kind of intriguing. And then, I mean, what's there to say? Puka Nacua, man. As long as he's healthy, and it seems like he's healthy, he's going to crush.
Just every week. There's just no player like him. Ben Solak posted a cool ass video how the Rams were using him like in motion as a fullback to set up that touchdown he had in that game last week. Just awesome stuff. Like, and there's just no player that can do that stuff because he's unique. Like he's so good in the run game. He's kind of like like one of these guys we talk about, like Kittle and Kraft, like these
He's like
guys
Bowers
that just
Yeah.
impact the game on every level.
Yeah.
And he's just such a chess piece. The only thing with him is that he's a little bit of a battering ram. He's got that Anquan Bolden gene where like he's so physical that like he takes on those bumps and bruises. But
Yeah.
anytime he's on the field, like exactly what you're getting. Target on 36% of his routes. Like he's only he'd be like completely dwarfing the field. It wasn't for this just like incredible JSN season going on right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Adams here, I think, is also interesting. He has such a nice red zone role that while he's not Puka, he's still very valuable.
Yeah, the whole plane is built out of him.
Yeah. So I'm into I'm into Adams somewhat here. I don't think what's he in DFS? I probably won't end up buying
He's
here.
pricey. I think he's
Yeah.
75.
Yeah,
Am I
I don't
right
think I'm
about
doing
that?
that.
He is
But
very pricey just because he doesn't do a lot outside of the touchdowns. But like he's not dropping a lot of it's crazy scoring a lot of touchdowns that you're not getting a lot of like tournament worthy scores at that price for him.
yeah, but I'm like I'm treating him as a wide receiver one in season long. Like I'm
Yeah,
happy to
yeah.
plug him
What a
in.
touchdown equity, dude. Dude has
So good.
16 end zone targets. Like,
Yeah, it's nuts.
absolutely wild.
It's kind of
Man.
genius, like where you're like, we're gonna have a tendency that it's Puka all the time, except when we get into the red zone. Now it's gonna be Adams. So now you have to like focus your attention to Adams, but that means like Puka can score more easily, which is obviously awesome for the Rams. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's kind of smart for them to signal like Adams is our red zone guy because obviously Puka
Dude,
could be the
McVay
red
has
zone guy if they
been
wanted.
McVay's been absolutely incredible this year. Like I talked about it early in the season with the under center stuff, like being ahead. And like, dude, so the last 3 games, the Rams, because they lost 2 to Atwell, Puka missed the game. They've completely flipped like their wide receiver rotation. They have used 13 personnel the last 3 games, 16%, 39%, and 46% of their times. And here's the kicker. They're not doing this to run. They've used the past 2 games, they've thrown the ball 27% of the time and 32% of the time out of 13 personnel.
Wow.
Like they're doing like kind of like how like Greg Olson was going off about like the Seahawks and like, but they're coaxing teams into playing heavy and like playing all these tight ends with Puka and Adams. It's like completely bonkers. It's like Mad Hatter type shit. Terrence Ferguson, the past 2 games, is averaging 24 air yards per target. Like
Ferguson's yards per route run are kind of nuts. Like
because
he's
he's
been
averaging 24 air yards per target.
He had 5.40 yards per route run last game. Yeah, you're right. He had 18.3 ADOT and then 29 ADOT against the Jags in London.
Yeah, and 39% of his snaps have been played at wide receiver, out wide, and 19% in the slot. Like he's still there. He's a rotating. Like you're not going to chase this stuff, but
No, you
I just think
can't,
I just think
unfortunately.
it's really cool. Like for
Who's
someone
their
that's
third
like
tight end? Because he's
Davis Allen and Coley
Davis
Parker, they're
Allen.
playing all of them. Like they're all playing. They're a 4-man rotation.
It's so wild.
Dude, I'm telling you, it is like, but I find it fascinating because like I'm not like I'm like a loose ball knower. Like, but like it's like it's very cool like this because like my theory like the past 2 years has been like drafting a lot of players that have like are on the Mick Shanahan coaching tree because they understand how to like beat the current defense, right? Like the way the defensive meta is. And this isn't like tried and true, it's like gospel, but like these guys are consistently doing the things to make those defenses be put in hell. Like if this is how you want to play, like cool. And like what McVay's doing is so awesome.
The tricky part about that theory is you have to like figure out which guys belong in that tree and which don't,
Like Brian Callahan.
Yeah, Brian Callahan, you're out. Liam Cohen, I don't know. You were in. Yeah. I'm not sure if you're in next year. Yeah. Mike McDaniel, it's like
this has been an amazing Sean McVay season so far.
McVay
to this
Shanahan,
point,
though.
To this point. And it's honestly been a pretty great Kyle Shanahan season at this point. Now, one of these dudes is going to blow a playoff game by not going for a 4th down they're supposed to go for, but they are absolutely been in their bag so far this year.
It's been an incredible Kyle Shanahan season. Like this is, I mean, people are saying Mac Jones should be their starter. To me, that is a Kyle Shanahan stat.
There's never been anything more.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like, congratulations to Kyle Shanahan.
Every team could have had Mac Jones.
Starter. Yeah.
6 months ago, every team could have had Mac Jones.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, it's not just that. Like, the defense is completely banged up. I mean, banged up is light. Like, this defense has been ravaged by injuries. The receiving core has been ravaged by injuries.
The O-line's been hurt.
I don't know if Brandon Ayuk's going to play a single game this year. Ricky Pearsall's been out indefinitely. Purdy's been out indefinitely. Like, this is crazy. Like this team there are so many coaches where this team has like one win.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the level of injuries. That starting quarterback, the entire defense, the entire wide receiver core. Like this is devastating for most other coaches, and they've been kind of chugging along.
They're expected. What is it? The Pythagorean really like they should be 4. They should be 4-4 basically, or like they're 4.7, 4.3. Like, they should be like a 500 team.
I mean, but even that just tells you that they've been
Yes.
winning
Yeah,
close games. But I think under most coaches, those games aren't close. They're getting crushed.
probably.
like Brian Callahan is not 4-4 with this team.
Absolutely not.
He's not 4-4. He'd
Yeah.
be lucky to have
And that's
2
what I said,
wins.
like, yeah, this game could outright fail and be like a divisional rematch slog, but like I tend to lean like, hey man, like these guys, like they're ready, man.
Yeah.
They've been, this is like their mini, like they're in season Super Bowls for these guys.
Funnily enough, that talks me into Kyron Williams is a more interesting play than I was initially thinking, even though you mostly were optimistic,
But he's
more optimistic than I was on the 49ers side.
Yeah, but he's another one of those guys. Like in that, like there's going to be a guy in that mid sixes to high five range that like is pivotal for the slate.
There is, for sure.
And it feels like the field is now getting to Judkins, and Kyron's a very Judkins adjacent player. So
Yeah. And what do you save with Judkins? Judkins
they're the
is
same price, but 100.
65, 66. Wow. Yeah.
They're like
Kyron's
dead
a pivot
on.
off Judkins' massive chalk. If that's where we get to,
If
which we might,
if the field gets there, yeah.
I kind of think they will. I mean, the narrative stuff on the trades and the Jets sucking ass, like everyone, you don't have
Right.
to. Hey, did you know the Jets suck? Like, oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to.
And this game is just
too much
objectively better too.
Yeah, this game is better. I mean, the Browns game could be horrible. It could be horrible. It's Dylan Gabriel. We're talking about like it's Monday, and you've slammed Quinshon Judkins. I was like, did you consider that the quarterback was so bad that Kevin Stefanski had to give up play calling duties?
Did you consider that game was going to be 10-9?
Did that cross your mind for you? Yeah.
It's
So,
interesting. No, yeah, I came away too. Yeah, that it could be more Kyron, or at least more fun. The outcome, in the range of outcomes.
for sure.
I like it.
All right.
I think it.
That'll do it.
That'll do
We're
it.
just under 3. There were so many times I thought we're not going to go 3 hours. We're actually going to wrap up a little bit. Here we are. It's 2 minutes 55 seconds. 2 hours 55 minutes. And now we just at 2:56. So, all right, let's get out here and remind people where they can check out the worksheet.
Yeah, if by any chance we didn't cover anything that you wish we touched upon, I don't think we talked about like a Giants backfield. So like, go ahead and check that. Check that out. But yeah, Sharp Football Analysis. You can check out the worksheet. Wrote up all the games, all the players. Check it out.
Check out Legendary Upside. Like over at Sharp Football Analysis, we have you covered with the London game, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, all that good stuff. Rankings. We're also, if you're into the playoff best ball, we've got that's gonna be rolling out, I think next week or soon thereafter. So yeah, that's gonna be live soon, and we'll have lots of coverage on that, including our sidekick draft assistant that yeah, we'll be there for playoff best ball. So check all that out at Legendary Upside, and we'll be back here for the week 11 walkthrough. We'll see you then.